Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is Coach Renz. Welcome to Thursday. Jueves. Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to Thursday with Wireless Religion with Coach Renz. Today is Thursday, so it's Book Club Day. Book Club Day on the live, and we are doing the Alchemy of the Gospel of Thomas. We're breaking it down as much as we possibly can. Don't tell me that I've lost it where I had it on my. Oh shit! Oh heck! I tried to leave it up on my laptop, but now it's gone, so I got to bring it back up. Yo, while we bringing that up, let me know who you are, where you're at, who you are, where you at, as we go through the Gospel of Thomas, which I had up on my screen. Was supposed to leave it up here the whole time, but I accidentally just deleted it. Isn't that grand? Isn't that just special? If you find me for the first time, we are on this channel. We deconstruct from religion. How you doing, Teresa Grand Rising? Um, where in the heck was it? Uh-huh. This is quite irritating. I don't know exactly where I had the goddamn thing. So now I gotta find it again. Ah! But we normally just pitter pat around for about 5 minutes anyway before we get started. So it should be like right here. This is where it should be. It should be in this folder, and it is in this folder. I just kept skipping over it. Is that the one that we reading? The version? All right, that's not the version. That's my version right there. And it brought us to right where we left off. Oh, such a great thing. It's a great thing. All right, we got it back. We got it back together. Okay, so I found it again where we left off. We had a very good conversation yesterday on Wednesday, which you guys, so y'all might want to try to get to these lives, man. We had some good conversations. Um, Yesterday, talking about how much the Bible, can't stand women, how disrespectful it is to women, and trying to understand why women still, participate in this book. Uh, so, because on Wednesdays and Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so the conversation could be anything. It is only on Tuesday. Tuesday we do what's wrong with the Bible. We're actually reading it. I don't know how far we're gonna go. We're in Leviticus right now. Thursday book club. Everybody, we decided we was gonna do the Gospel of Thomas. I don't know what we're gonna do next. We got a few of them on the line, and I left my cutter and my torch over there. I'll be right back so I can get my cutter and my torch because my name is this is Coach Renz and I own a cigar lounge, so I smoke my cigar. Uh, Jeremy, Grand Rising Jeremy, Grand Rising James, Michael, Harlem, New York, Pennsylvania, and Albuquerque. Man, I got to go back. I'm going back to Albuquerque. I like that hotel. Just that one hotel. There was a guy who was a chef at that hotel. He was on one of those Hell's Kitchen shows. I don't know if that helped you figure out who the guy was, but I got to go back there. I liked Albuquerque, New Mexico. Actually, riding through New Mexico, you get to see all that natural formation of bluffs and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. And you know what's sad? I worked in the airport in New York, LaGuardia and Kennedy. I was there for 24 days and never went into the city. From hotel to the airport, hotel to the airport, and that's it. But I had already been gone 10 days before I got there and spent 24 days there, so I was ready to go home. If you're new, have you read the Gospel of Thomas? Have you heard of the Gospel of Thomas? What are your thoughts about the Gospel of Thomas? Hell, even if you're not new, what are your thoughts about the Gospel of Thomas? Today I'm smoking the Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne. It's a great starter cigar for a rookie. So have you heard of the Gospel of Thomas? Have you read the Gospel of Thomas? What do you think about the Gospel of Thomas? Debbie, she's heard of it. One of Jeremy's favorites. Cool, cool. What's up, Papa Soul? How you doing? Been missing in action this week. Willie, Grand Rising. James said he moved here from Florida, and I absolutely love it. I lived off the grid in the cabin in the mountains for 7 years, but now I'm in Albuquerque, so my son can attend University of Mexico. Gospel Thomas is true. Started but didn't finish it. Well, we gonna finish it. I know you've been here every week, so since we started this one, Debbie, so we gonna get to finish it. That's pretty cool that you moved so you can be there for your kid going through school. Been a minute, but overheard some discussions from Mars. Well, I find the Gospel of Thomas, if you haven't heard about it, or if you don't know certain things about it, and let's see, Valentino, what do you say? Well, I know that the Gospel of Thomas believes that the God of the Bible was actually the devil, and that the God lives within rather than somewhere else in the skies. That is the Gnostic idea. That's yes. That's pretty much that is a good um, statement concerning the Gospel of Thomas. Some of that, as far as the demiurge and the God, God living within is definitely something that's in the Gospel of Thomas. Sometimes it can lend to a God, the good God, being on the outside as well, because it talks about being all around you, the kingdom. Well, we'll get to that part where you can somewhat extract like that, but it does follow, although it's not actually a Gnostic book, it does follow a lot of the mindsets of the Gnostic. It's still you have to gain knowledge in order to ascend and escape into ascend and become one with the all, or ascend to a higher plane of understanding. So it does have that, but they are more and more as we discover more and more about the Gnostics themselves. The Gospel of Thomas was like, I'm a Gnostic and these are my core books. The Gospel of Thomas is a good complementary to my core books. It's kind of how it's starting to come out. Uh, it's a good read. It sheds more light on what JC was thinking. I'm gonna say, because I don't believe JC existed in the format that the Bible says JC existed, I'm gonna say what people thought JC was thinking, or people who said, okay, this is a growing religion trend. Let me jump in this trend in order to facilitate the philosophy of this secret knowledge that I have. You know, um, and that happens. You got people who jump into the Hotep movements and the different levels of spirituality. They already had a mindset, and they just attach their mindset to that spirituality because it's close enough to their mindset that they can roll with it. Like a person, you go back in the day and grab a stoic person, they would probably be they would most likely become like an esoteric person. They most likely would follow that kind of mindset because it's all about what's inside you. They couldn't be the big Bible thumpers. That wouldn't work for them. It's too much outside of self. So let's get started. I believe last time we left off on 27. Let me make sure. I try to set it so that, yep, we left on 27. So we're at 28. Let's get the spectacles on. So in 28, and according to the Gospel of Thomas, it says that Jesus said, "I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in the flesh I appeared to them. I found them all drunk, and I did not find any of them thirsty. My soul ached for the children of humanity, because they are blind in their hearts and do not see. For they came into this world empty, and they also seek to depart from it, from the world empty. But meanwhile, they are drunk. When they shake off their wine, then they will change their ways." Yeah. I'm pretty sure everybody who follows, whose mindset is in line with me, already got that one right off the rip. Right? He's saying he came came to stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh. Okay, yeah, he came there. This is also where some people, they say that there are those beings of higher consciousness that choose to come here and try to teach. Like they say, there are those who say that Siddhartha, the Krishna, Allah, Muhammad, Jesus. They try to say these people came, and they came they volunteered to come to earth and teach. So he came and stood in the midst, but he found us all drunk. Drunk on what? Drunk on conditioning, drunk on religion, drunk on greed, drunk on, lust, just drunk on everything that is material. But for the most part, drunk on trying to survive in this world and following suit, doing what everybody else does. You know, he said, "My soul ached for the children of humanity." Right. And he said, "I did not find any of them thirsty." Because most people just follow along. They're like sheep. Most people, they're not going to think for themselves nor research anything. They're going to accept whatever their parents tell them. They're going to accept whatever the government tells them. They're going to accept whatever the schools, the church, whatever they tell them, Pastor said, is what they're going to accept. So when they accept Pastor said, they're not thirsty. You go to any church, yet they take communion but are not thirsty. They walk in the door with a book that they have bet their life on, but they have not read. They certainly have not studied it. If they have read all of it, they have not studied it. But for the most part, they've read bits and pieces of it. They're not thirsty for anything. They're not thirsty for knowledge. They're just here, accepting whatever they have grown up in. It takes something painful for them to change. And most of them just change and flip over to another religion. Oh, I went to jail. I walked in the jailhouse a Christian. I'm walking out a Muslim. I walked in a Muslim. I'm walking out a Christian. Oh, I lost my family. I'm converting to Christianity. Oh, hell, even people, don't get me wrong, great person, Tina Turner went through hell as a Christian woman married to Ike, turned into a Buddhist. Right? But she found her peace in Buddhism. I'm not mad at her, but just the point is, we usually just jump from one to the other without a lot of studying. It's just whatever comes to us that makes us feel good in a moment of pain. Instead of saying, but most of us got thirsty, started studying this book, and then we walked away from it. Probably have the Bible. Hey, I used to have a Bible with my name engraved on it. It was a high school graduation gift. But yes, have that Bible with their name engraved on it. Haven't read it. Have not read it at all. But they're not even thirsty for it. They're not even thirsty. Now, people here, people who are with me constantly, y'all thirsty. We all thirsty. We drink. We looking for it. We're not sitting up here drunk on what they've taught us. But he said, "My soul ached for the children of humanity, because they are blind in their hearts and do not see." And that blindness keeps them. They're so emotional. Think about what he's saying. That back then, just looked around and read it over and over. I did too. You read the Bible over and over again. There's no way you stay with the Bible. But he said here that, because they are blind in their hearts. You see, back in the day, they thought that, the soul lived in your heart. That's where your soul was. and your emotions are there. And people today are so attached, so emotionally attached to this Bible, to this book, that they are blind. They can't see anything beyond that. How many times have you guys, if you've been with me for any amount of time and we're going through this book, I present facts to people who believe in this book and they just stay stuck. They can't get out of it. Somebody just invited me. They sent me a message on that DM thing and it was like, hey, it's this person with this other organization. They want to debate you. I'm like, I don't do debates. What's the point of me doing a debate? Why? So we can go circle and circle and circle and circle. There's no point of a debate. I know people. I know y'all like debates, and I probably could grow my channels if I did more debates. But it ain't about. I mean, I do want to grow the channel. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain things I just don't want to do. I might change my mind one day, but for right now, for today, I can't say I don't want to do debates. But I leave the door open. But because they're blind and they're so emotionally attached that they can't see nothing. It doesn't matter how much facts or information or logic is used or critical thinking. They're blind. They can't see. They can't see. And then I wish Paul was on here because Paul likes to say this, but I know he's gonna see it later. But they came into the world empty, and they will also depart the world empty. You came into this world an atheist, right? You came in this world, you didn't believe, there was no belief in you. You came empty. You came empty. Then the world fills you up with a whole bunch of bullshit, right? What was the argument that we was having when somebody said, hey, you born into sin? I ain't born in no damn sin. You're born sinner. You're a born sinner. That's what he said. You're a born sinner. I was not born a sinner. My children were not born a sinner. Nobody is born a sinner. You don't even know the concepts of good and evil when you came into this world. You're empty, right? You're empty. You don't know greed. You don't know lust. You don't know jealousy. You don't know those things when you're born. You learn those things. You pick up those things. You develop those things. You get filled with those things from living in this world. But he said you're going to depart empty because when you leave, you can't take all that with you. That's not going with you. But what did you learn in the meantime? Not a damn thing. You stayed drunk. But meanwhile, they are drunk. When they shake off their wine, they will change their ways. Basically, when you deconstruct this religion, deconstruct from this world, then you'll be ready to learn something. You'll be ready to grow. I like this verse. I like this part in the Gospel Thomas. There's a lot of meat in there, but it just tells you exactly how people are. And until you start studying, and I never try to convince people to leave their religion. I eat Teresa Greedies. Yes, they are sheep, and they want to stay sheep. Most people want to. It's just comfortable. Most people exist in a comfortable state of misery. It's a level of misery that they've gotten used to that they can handle. The overwhelming majority of the world is not happy. Like, they're not. Yesterday I was sitting outside the cigar lounge, right there, sitting outside, and I'm watching the traffic go by as people are going home. If you'd have saw me on my way home back in the day, I was a smiley, happy joker going home. Even when going home wasn't peaceful at home, I was like, cool, I'm done with my day. It's my time. I got free time. My time is now completely my own. I don't have any appointments to go to. I don't have anybody to train. I'm not at class I'm not teaching. Shit, I was always happy on my way home. I was sad on my way to work. And I'm just watching these people. They on their way home. And I was, and I do stupid stuff. You got to understand, I do stupid stuff sometimes. I'm counting the people going by. And I was determined to get to 100. I got to about 70. I didn't see one person smiling going up the street. Not one person was smiling. Most people are living a basic state of misery, but they're used to it. And they're going to stay with it. But until you shake it off, you can't be you can't make any changes in your life. You got to shake it off. It's like he's saying here, when they shake off their wine, they will change their ways. All right, let me not get too stuck on one. That one just it just hits home for me in so many ways. But let me not get stuck on one because there's 114 sayings, and of course, this is the third part. We're on part 3 today. Um, so you see, we're not getting that far each time we go. Jesus said, and we spend 2 hours at least. 29. And Jesus said, if the flesh came into being, oh, this is, you guys are going to know this one because if you've been with me for a while, I've used this a bunch of times. And Jesus said, if the flesh came into being because of spirit, then that is a marvel. But if the spirit came into being because of the body, that is a marvel. That is a marvel of marvels. Yet I marvel at how this great wealth has come to dwell in this poverty. How many times have y'all heard me call this a poverty suit? I call it a meat suit or the poverty suit, or you're dwelling in poverty. That's where I got that from. Way back when I first read this in the early 90s, that's where I got that from. It's funny. I've used that term when I was still a Christian and I was going to churches, and then there were like elders and deacons and pastors who start calling this a poverty suit or a meat suit. It's kind of funny to me. But I've used this one because think about it. Ooh, hold on. We got this one switching. I thought this one was charged up last night. Mm. I thought that one was charged up, but it wasn't. Woo. YouTube, I almost lost you. Almost lost you, YouTube. Okay, so don't want to lose you, YouTube. But I got you. I got you. I saved the day. Ah, so this one, I want you to really think about this because it's actually revealing more than just about this is the poverty or meat suit. But when it says if the flesh came into being because of the spirit, that is a marvel. So and most of us can accept that and would think that way. You exist in this poverty suit because of your spirit, your soul, your ka, not because, right? But he said, but that is a marvel. That's like, wow. That in itself is a marvel, right? The spirit. But if the spirit came into being because of the body, that is a marvel of marvels. If your soul didn't exist until this body was created, that is a marvel of marvels. It is already amazing that something as great, something of great wealth as your spirit can dwell in this poverty. That in itself is amazing. But the fact that, but if you didn't exist until this, so how does anybody say that there's no reincarnation? There was no life of you before you. You didn't exist beforehand. You're not eternal. That it would even be more of a marvel if you were just now created at your inception. That would be a marvel of marvels. So therefore, you are eternal. This version of Jesus, was trying to tell the people that your spirit, your ka, your soul is eternal. It wasn't new. This is not new information. This is something that was in the Nubio-Kemetic societies. The Hopi Indians taught this. The Aboriginals down in Australia taught this. The other cultures teach this. In Buddhism, this is taught. Hinduism, this is already taught. He was bringing this when Akhenaten was teaching the Akten. This was taught. You are eternal, but no, these religions and people's low-level mindsets want to make them think that they are the original. You are brand new. This life you're leading right now is brand new. This is your first time around. But no, your energy, your soul, your ka is eternal. It's eternal. And that's all he's saying. And the fact that it lives is, and it's of such great wealth that no matter how good this body is, how amazing this body is, it's still a meat suit. It's poverty. This is poverty. And we're going to, and I don't know which saying it is, but it goes back into the poverty thing. That's when we're going to talk about mindset. But that's like one of my other favorite ones. So if y'all don't get nothing out of any of this today, understand that I don't care who's saying it. And that's why I make sure you understand that it's said in multiple religions, multiple traditions, that you are eternal. You've always been here, and you will continue to be. You'll continue to exist. There is no hell. There is no ceasing of existence. You will always exist because you always have existed. You're just living in the poverty right now in this meat suit. But no, there's no matter plane situation where this would not be poverty. Is another thought process you should to understand. So in 30, Jesus said, where there are three deities, they are divine. Where there are two or one, I am that one. This one used to throw me for a while. It still kind of throws me a little bit because you can go some different ways with it. Where there are three deities, they are divine. Now, does divine mean that it is God, it is the one all creator? No, it is not. But he's also saying where there are three deities, you just have divinity. Where there are two or one, I am that one. Now, where there are two or one, whether you can take this literally to say two deities or one deity. He said, I am that one. Or you can look at it as an internal thing where there is my masculine and my feminine balanced together as one. I am that, but he's saying that I'm that one. I got my shit together, basically. Right? You have divinity in the gods you seek outside yourself, in whether it's Hiru, Asar, Aset, and Hiru, or the Father, Mother, and Child, or whether you're looking at any Trinity, you can create divineness, divinity. And even in a family, that could be divine. That is divine in a family. But two or one, where you find it within self, I am that one. You find it within just yourself. If anybody else got anything other, because I can't. Some of these I know I break down deeply. Others a little shallow because it's either my mind ain't clicked it yet, or they're really just my mind haven't clicked it yet. So I welcome y'all comments. Is basically what I'm saying, because I want y'all to talk to me. Because I never claim to know everything. 31. Jesus said, no prophet is welcome in his own turf. Doctors don't cure those who know them. And y'all, let me tell you, this shit is so true because, I left Mayretta. For anybody who's on here who's from Mayretta. You got me, Jeremy? Good. And I left Mayretta. It's Marietta, Georgia, proper. I left Marietta, Georgia. And I was hated growing up because I was like questioning all this stuff, getting kicked out of different churches. I think we got kicked out of almost every church in Marietta in Cobb County. Then I left, went to the Marine Corps, came back. I was trying to be, super Jesus freak, everything, trying to learn. I want to be this, And then I left again. If I went now, people started, and for some reason, about 10 years ago, people from Marietta started trying to follow me on Facebook, like, sending me friend requests. And back then I used to post all my stuff. You know how quickly them jokers was unposted, unfriending my ass? Unfriending like a champ. The prophet is not welcome at home. They will kick you to the curb. The only home that I'm welcome in is my family. Luckily for me, I have a family that we had a moment, but They like, hey, no matter what, we still family. We still love each other. We still, we all um, we all have the ancestry of Eddie J, and Isabel Ross. So, but y'all understand, most of us cannot go home. If you walked away from this religion, the people you grew up with, the family members, they sometimes kick you to the curb, and that's just how it is. Doctors don't cure those who know them. You know, you can go and preach this to your family day in and day out that they need to deconstruct from this religion. They need to read this book or study this, or let me tell you something. And they are going to deny you. Then I come along, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Husband and wives do that all the time. Well, people in relationships do that all the time because people do it who just in a long term relationship. I call those husband and wives too, but they do it all the time. I've done it. You got your spouse telling you something, and you like, nah, 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 nah. And then this person over here, they tell you the same thing. You're like, oh man, you know what? We need to do this, this, and that. And your spouse looking at you like, really? Really? I told you that 6 months ago. I've been on both ends of that. I've been on both ends of it. It's hard. Those closest to you, it's hard for them to listen to you. 32. Jesus said, "A city built on a high hill and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden." Jeremy laughing at me. Yep, you're right about that one, David. You, make sure I don't miss your comment. 32. City built on a high hill and fortified cannot fall. Speaking from a military standpoint, back in their day, it was different. They didn't have airplanes. They couldn't bombard you. They had catapults. But when you're on a high hill uh, and you're fortified, meaning you got walls, like even the catapult will struggle. The catapult will still have to be in range of the archers and their catapults in order to attack on a high hill and that has wall. It's not gonna fall, right? But it's also out in the open. Your information, your strength. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me reverse that around. Your strength is your information, right? Your city, your fortification is your knowing of things, your ability to critically think, to understand, to be open, to be outside of everything else, to think deeper, to not sit in the darkness of just being told, but to think through everything. That's your fortification, right? And you are the city, so you're building you and you're fortifying your city. But the more and more you fortify the city, the higher on the hill that you build yourself, you cannot be hidden. I tried to stay hidden. I didn't want originally, don't get mad at me, y'all. Originally, I didn't want none of y'all. I was doing these, y'all know I've said it a million times. I was doing these videos for my children. So, because I don't, you never know when life will end. I want to make sure my kids have as much of my knowledge as I can possibly give them. And as I continue to grow, I want them to have even more. So after me and their mother divorced, I wanted to make sure that there was some way that they can still gather this information from me because I didn't have as much time with them. Plus, I know they get grown, they're gone. You know, you know how hard it is to see them little rat children, and they know I call them rat children all the time, and they got raggedy friends. It's an inside joke with us, but you know how hard it is to see them on a regular. I mean, my girls, we talk, once a week or so. That boy, once every 3 weeks or so. Now that he's off into the Air Force, so this was for them. So I tried to hide, and I was hiding good. And I just talked to Kevin Wesley yesterday, right? And and it was his fault that all y'all know me now. But it's good though. But it's hard to hide. You can't hide. There's absolutely no way. You can't keep it to yourself. It's going to get out. There will be people that come around you, but it's okay as long as you continue to fortify yourself, continue to grow, continue to study, continue to learn, continue to be open. Let your mind be free. Y'all know what I say at the end of every video. You got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. You have to. Good journey, good vibration, because you're constantly on a journey. So you cannot be hidden. But when you shine, you shine. Y'all, I think Jeremy got jokes today, y'all. Jeremy on Facebook got jokes. All right, let's continue. The good old days, Triple X. See, if I get down with Kevin again, then we're gonna start doing debate shows again. And you know, that dude started crying that day. I ain't trying to make people cry. That bothered me. That still bothers me. That's why I stopped doing debate shows. But that dude started crying. All right. So continue. 33. Jesus said, "What you will hear in your ear, in the other ear, proclaim from." You know what? Hold on. What you will hear in your ear, in the other ear, proclaim from your rooftop. After all, no one light. If y'all been listening, no one lights a lamp and put it under a basket, nor does one put it in a hidden place. Rather, one puts it on a lampstand so that all who come and go will see its light. So what you hear in this ear, your other ear will proclaim. But you really, you know, what you learn, you have to proclaim. You have to speak out. You have to say it. It gives you a light, right? Don't hold on. You know, he's saying that don't you put your light out there for all to see. Don't hide. Back when I was growing up, you had to hide. Prior to me growing up, there were other people who thought like I did before this, but they, most people hide. Don't hide. Let your light shine, bro. Let you be you. You don't put it on the basket. Grow. Even and this is not just spiritual thing. This is all things of life. Grow. Let it shine. You know, be don't be embarrassed to be who you are. Y'all have seen that I am transparent as hell, right? Incredibly transparent. I do not try to hide any aspect of who I am. You know why? If you don't like it, that's your problem. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. Mm-mm. And you know what's funny? There's people who come in here and they were like, "Man, I wish I could be as open-minded as you," or I admire your open-mindedness or your freedom, the freedom that you have. And I sit there and tell them, "You can have it too, dude. Stop caring about what other people think. Stop caring how other people judge you or what people, how they concern themselves about you. That's their concern. That's not yours. But as you learn, as you grow, you know, it's little light up. Come on, everybody. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. Come on, everybody. I'm gonna let it shine. Sing it in your office. I bet you some of y'all start singing. Who started singing? Debbie, I know you started singing. I know you did. Who started singing the song? Who started singing? Jeremy, if you didn't start singing that song with me, me and you gonna have a conversation, sir. Who was singing the song? I knew that. And I know you did too. I know Angelina started singing with me. Jeremy started singing. I know. Yeah. Because I know y'all about as crazy as I am. Oh my gosh. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. See, that's what I'm talking about. You got to have people who can roll with you. All right, 34. It was in your head, Renee? Renee said, it was in my head. I couldn't help it. All right. Jesus said, 34. Let's dig deep. If a blind person leads a blind person, both of them will fall into a hole. We ain't got to explain that. We know what that would mean. We know what that would mean. The blind leading the blind. And that's what we have with most of these people who are following religions. They're the blind leading the blind. They just fall into a hole. Most of them are falling into a hole of a hell that they're creating for themselves. It's not even it's not even real. It's what they have created. They're lemons. Just one lemon run off the cliff, they running off the cliff with them. All right, so let's go. We know that. We understand that one. 35. One can enter a strong man's house and take it by force without tying his hands. Then one can loot his house. I read that wrong. One can't enter a strong man's house. In writing, I hate when they use can't. You should, and when you write something, it should be cannot. One cannot enter a strong man's house and take it by force without tying his hand. Then one can loot his house. You guys all know this one. This is why they say that. This is why some people think that Thomas might be the fabled QLM. The QLM is supposedly this book that they used to help finish the Gospels, because none of the Gospels were complete. So that book, when you're holding a Bible, when you're looking at a Bible, you think this is the complete. No, they edited it and had to clean it up and fix it and finish off things. They did not have a clear-cut version of this book at any time when they've translated it into the, whether it was the translation into the Septuagint, into the Vulgate, and then into other languages. But mainly that Septuagint and Vulgate, they never had the complete documents. So they believe this is a book called the QLM that finished off some of the New Testament. Many think that the Gospel of Thomas is because of some of the similarities. This is one of those similarities, because you read this, I think, in Mark or Matthew, where it says that no one can enter a strong man's house without first binding that strong man. This is pretty much the same thing. One can't enter a strong man's house and take it by force without tying his hands. Then you can loot his house. So when you have to bind a strong person. Once you've bound them, then you can take their shit. All right, you can take it. Then you can steal. Then you can take, and you got to think about how they were thinking back in those days. You bind the strong man, then you can take his women, you can take his children, you can take all their personal possessions. So you can take all those things. But even in our esoteric mindsets today, you cannot, when you got somebody who is deeply stuck in a religion, they're not going to move or shake until you bind their hands, but in this sense, bind their mind. You will have to take them, you would have to figure out what it is that got them so stuck on this book that they can't even absorb facts or reality. Where's the emotional? Is it an emotional thing? Is it a mental thing? Like if somebody is stuck on a religion because of emotions, you're not going to be able to get them out through logic. You got to tap into that emotion. If this because of fear, you got to tap into that fear. You have to tap into whatever their strength is. And then you can help them out. That's if that's what your mission is. That's not my mission. I ain't trying to change nobody. You stay over there. You stay over there if you want to. If I just happen chance to say something that clicks with you, all right. But I'm not trying to change. But recognize that as well. So when we would go into debates, that's what I would look for. I would look for what is keeping this person connected to this information, and let me hit them from that angle, because you can't hit everybody with logic. Right? So yeah, let's continue. 36. Don't fret. This is all Jesus said, but I'm tired of saying Jesus said. Jesus said, don't fret from morning to evening and from evening to morning. What you're going to wear. So don't fret from morning to evening and from evening to morning about what you're going to wear. This again sounds similar. If this deity clothed the lily pads and all that, then why are you concerned about what you wear? That's similar to what's in the Bible. So they make this the QLM. But when I read this, it made me think about the fact of, why should I worry about anything? Really? I was literally told by an elder that she was concerned about me because I don't worry enough. That was her concern. That I don't worry enough. Now, she worried all the time. She was the true worry wart, as we call it, right? But it bothered her that I didn't worry. And I don't. I got things going on right now that most people will be consumed with worry. It is what it is. Life gonna be what life gonna be. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, and it's gonna be what I make it. And so let me clarify. It's gonna be what I make it be, and it's gonna be what others are making it be around me. Everybody has their will. Everybody commits to actions and things of that nature, and life is what it is. But I'm not worried about it. What am I gonna worry about it for? What am I gonna sit there and concern myself? Why am I gonna go? Let me tell you, there's only since I've read this, I'm just going to count the time after I read this. After I read this, there's only 3 times in my life that I was actually worried, that I was like went deep inside, sort of almost to the levels of depression. Well, one time, 2 times. Well, one was just my grandmother passed away, because I had read this while I was on ship during the same year that my grandmother passed away. That hurt me deep. I was depressed for a bit. Another time was when my first child was born, and it hit me that I'm responsible for the upbringing of a whole person. That shit hit like a ton of bricks, boy. What they say, like what is it, postpartum depression? Shit, we were both going through postpartum depression, because I was like, what the hell? I'm looking at Sydney. I'm like, I'm not equipped for this. There is nothing that prepared me for this. And I'm responsible for this. Like, her whole life. Like, what I teach her is going to determine what kind of life this whole being has. Like, who put me in charge? I'm not, I'm not qualified for this. What the fuck? And then the only other time was when I got divorced, and then it hit me. Wasn't even divorced yet. Paperwork hadn't even been filed. But it hit me. Well, the paperwork was filed. But it hit me that I wasn't going to be in the house with my kids every day anymore. That threw me off. Ooh. I was 6 months of all kind of messed up, right? So those are the only time. But anything else that has happened in my life: open a business, shut down a business; open a business, lose a business; open a business, sell a business; move from this house to that house; lose a house; lose a car; file bankruptcy; bad credit, good credit. I've been through all of it. I don't worry about it. It ain't gonna kill me. And even if it does, it's just killing this body. So okay, whatever. I'm not worried about it. I'm not afraid of it. I wasn't afraid of death even before I went on a journey. I wasn't afraid of death before I went. So even more so, going on a journey is like even more so like, oh hell no. Now I got even more solid. So don't worry about nothing. You don't worry about. You don't worry. Your sister worries enough for the both of us. Yeah. You got other people out there worried about you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Just you keep doing you. Keep moving forward. Keep living life. There were times where I was homeless. I'm talking not oh, I'm staying at my brother's house, or that kind of homeless. I'm talking about living in my truck homeless. That kind of homeless. And I wasn't worried about it. I was uncomfortable because that truck was kind of small. But I was uncomfortable, and that was it. But I'm good. Didn't worry about it. I knew it wasn't. It was only temporary. All things are temporary. Okay, so 37. His disciples said, When will you appear to us? And when will we see you? Jesus answered, when you strip without being ashamed, get butt naked. When you strip without being ashamed, and you take off your clothes and put them under your feet like little children, and trample them, then you will see the Son of the Living One, and you will not be afraid. Grand Rising Jan, is that Janice? Janicker? Miss Wright? Grand Rising Miss Wright. Oh, Janice. Okay. You know your name got an R, I think, instead of the E. That's what I was reading about. Good. Grand Rising Janice. This one. Because to see a person's nakedness back in their day was a shameful thing. It was shameful for the person, and it was shameful for you, right? So you can imagine for somebody to say this back then, they were like, oh. But little children, they don't think about it in the same way. Little kids aren't running around thinking like, oh, you naked, oh, you naked. They just, they're not worried about that. Right? They don't think that way. So now this is similar to when, like he says, come to me like little children. Or earlier in the previous videos when he was saying that a man of old would not hesitate to ask a baby about, the kingdom because they are closer to it. They're not filled with all this stuff that you've been filled with all these doctrines and all these false deities and false ideas of worship, all the genocides and all the other craziness that are in these religions. He's saying, nah, strip down, shed all that shit off you, shed all the things that you've been taught, empty your cup, and then trample on them. So your clothes is all that stuff that life has been putting on you. The Bible is not meant to be taken literally. It's just an example. Actually, there are a lot of parts of the Bible that are very literal. The Bible is a compilation. It's not one thing. It's not just literal or just metaphoric or just allegoric. It's all of those. It has all those in there. So a lot of it is to be taken literally, which is one of the reasons why we've studied it, especially on Tuesdays when we are reading through it and we say hell no to this book. But the Gospel of Thomas is something that we can somewhat deal with. You yourself not to be taken literally. Now, there are some things about me you should take literally. There's a lot of things about me you should take literally. That's why, and as Angelina can attest to, I was told that I'm a handful. I'm a two handful. Yeah, I'm still salty about that. But it's because some people, when I tell them certain things that are literal about me, they don't want to understand it that way. This is literal. You best believe it. It ain't gonna change. So no, the Bible does have a lot of things that are literal, like all that sacrificing of animals is a literal thing. It's literal and it's metaphoric, but hey, you're supposed to do it literally. Giving your firstborn. They literally used to, ancient Israelites used to literally perform child sacrifice. A pastor is literally supposed to only marry a virgin. Literal. Jesus is supposedly literally walked, but we know he didn't. But those are the kind of things that we study, and then we realize that no, this is not a good deity, this is not a good religion, so we got to shed this mess. We got to get that mess off us. And you have to, because you will not be able to recognize your divinity, your God goddess inside of you come into balance until you do that. As long as you're carrying this stuff. And even for those of us who've deconstructed from this religion, we still carrying some of that. You strip down off your clothes, but you still got your bra panties, you still got your boxers on, you still got some socks on your feet. Still got a little something. But you got to get butt naked with it. You got to strip all that. You got to pour everything out of the cup so that you can then fill the cup, with something brand new. And when you're able to strip it all off, you won't be afraid. You see, when I was a kid coming up and I was deconstructing, I was scared because hell, I was by myself. Tim Witherow, who I don't, he doesn't see the lies, but he was like one of the only persons that I could talk to back in the day. Yes, people are not born in sin; they're born divine. Exactly. That's why you have to go back like little kids, as above, so below. I'm with you. I'm with you. So we have to be able to do it, and you won't be afraid. You won't be afraid. You won't be fearful. Mm-mm. And when you're not afraid, it's a wonderful feeling. When he was talking about not don't worry earlier, that's you'll be in that state, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing to not be in a state of worry or concern about what other people think. I said many times before, I could be the only person who thinks this way, and I will be perfectly fine. I, you shouldn't need anybody else's agreement in order to. I'm sorry, I'm laughing about something else popped in my head when I said you don't need anybody else's agreement in order for you to stand strong on what you think and your own divinity. I'm laughing because did y'all know that they've made agreements was not a word, but since people have used it so much, they literally have put it in. They put it in the dictionary. Agreements. I'm gonna call Elder T and say, they put agreements and made it a word. She used to be hardcore about that. As a lawyer, she was hardcore about that one. But yeah, so that made me like because I see the term agreement. Gospel, they got to take it all off and put on right knowledge in love and not fear. Yes, Jarvis, you're absolutely right. You got to take all that off. You have to take it all off. Man, I'm hungry. I ate a small breakfast this morning. I'm already hungry. Mm-mm-mm. But you do. You have to take it off, and then you do have to critically think through things and learn and observe, and then try it, and then see if what wisdom you get from it, and then see what the results are. And if you're not getting the results you desire, go back and do it again, learn again, study again. It's a constant process. You know, and I think there we go. The microphone's about to die on YouTube. I think this one microphone is just getting bad. But you have to keep going. All right, and we're gonna keep going. What number was that? At your age, you're still learning, and you should be. We all should be. We never stop learning. We're always learning. So that was 37. So 38. Yeah. Jesus said, "Often you have desired to hear these things that I'm speaking to you, and you have no one else from whom to hear them. There will be days when you will seek me and you will not find me." So, and this saying and other sayings should be kind of wrapped together, um, because then there's a bigger understanding of it. Because he's saying that you often desire to hear these sayings that I'm saying that I'm speaking to you, and you have no one else to whom to hear them, and you have no one else from whom to hear them. He said, I'm speaking this. I'm the only, and you desire to hear it. Now, it also goes with how he's going to be saying in later ones that I'm here. I'm trying to teach y'all. Y'all not listening. You desire to be with me, but y'all really not hearing what I'm saying, right? And this is why I think he added this last one. There will be days when you will seek me and you will not find me, because when you are ready, then it's like, nah, but I'm not around, because you had the opportunity at first, but you didn't take that opportunity. But now you have it. So you best get with it. So this one works with, and so a lot of these sayings you can match up they're somewhat repetitive, but they have a similar thought process. And in this one, it's like, you're designed to hear me speaking. I'm the only one telling you this, but you better get it all now, because there's gonna come a time I ain't gonna be here. And I say that to my kids all the time. Y'all best pay attention to what I'm trying to tell y'all, because there's gonna be a time where I'm not gonna be here to tell y'all nothing. What did? Oh my gosh, Anthony, you wrote a book, bro. before you before your live ends, I wanted to give my idea of the spirit and soul. I believe the soul is energy in one of the Transformers movies. You know I like using movies. Transformer movie, the All Spark, every machine that had a spark, and when it was taken from them, your spirit is definitely eternal and forced to be transformed to fit into a new child. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed because it's eternal. When the energy of the spirit enters into a new host, it has to learn a new life. If it learns its purpose, it may not come back. And when a host dies, it returns to source. Most people just don't learn their purpose, and those are the ones who become reincarnated. The reincarnation process can go as long as the spirit allows itself to try to find fit in with its at the time. Fit in with it at the time. Current experience. What are your thoughts on this? You'd have heard part of it. I'm going to be mean right now. You'd have heard part of it if you was here when I first started this live. But actually, we went over one of the sayings that kind of relates to that, in the sense that you are eternal. You've been here before. This is just a poverty suit. This is a meat suit. You're just existing here for now, but you've been before, and you will be after. Making it all the way back to source, not so sure. I think that during the process, there is a space that you exist for a time where you have to decide where you're going to return. Right? Nah, I just mess with you, Anthony. No problem, bro. Don't look, Anthony. Don't take me serious all the time. All right? Don't take me serious all the time. There's you would like our live that we did when we talked about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So we talked about that whole process of samsara, um, where you have an opportunity to go into the light, go back and return to the all. But if you become afraid, if you don't choose that and you become afraid, you see all these negative things that you're creating in your own mind, then you retreat into another light source that is similar, that you feel attracted to, which is another womb, and then you come back, right? Then you come back and do this shit again, or you may do it in some other planet as some other being, the serpent people in the Andromeda galaxy somewhere, wherever it is, wherever somewhere. I don't think you come back as plants and animals and all that sort of thing, because your consciousness is too complex for that. Right? But you will continue to grow, to live lives until you get it, until you come into that understanding. That's why I like 37, where it says you got to strip off your clothes, because most of us, we come into this world empty, as it said in another one, and then we get filled with all this, with the shirt of this religion, the pants of this culture, the socks of this government, and so on and so forth. And we have to strip all that away so you can truly see yourself and become yourself. You know, this is why I say you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is not negotiable. You got to get butt naked. Right. Your whole existence is all about you, because you're living in your own universe. Um, so where were we? Where did I just? Oh, but you better hear it now. You better hear it now. 38 is basically saying you better hear this stuff now, because at some point I'm not gonna be around. You're gonna be looking for me, and I'm not gonna be around. The information, you're gonna be looking for the information. Maybe not an individual. You'll be looking for the information, and it won't be around. You got the internet today. Internet could go away. Best believe, if the powers that be decided to take away the internet could go away. if you take out certain hubs around the world, the majority of the internet is gone. Majority of it is gone. You know, it'll be hard, but it can go. Just like books are going, books are dying. As important as it was, I used to have a huge library of books, and then I let my sister keep it in storage while I was homeless, and then she lost the storage without telling me, and I lost all my books. Still mad at her about that. Yeah, there is so much free information, and you should dissect it all. I tell y'all all the time, don't just take my word for nothing. Y'all better research everything I say. Don't just take my words. Even as we're going through these books on Thursdays, and each book takes weeks and weeks. Some gonna take months. Still go back through it, read it for yourself, dig into it for yourself, understand it for yourself. You might pull something out of it that I don't, right? And I would love to hear what you pull. Jesus and God were not the same, or not on the same page before his death. Do you think that's why he supposedly went to hell and freed people? I think he realized he got duped just like everybody else. Um, so if I was looking at it according to the story, because I don't believe that this Jesus ever existed and none of the things that is attributed to him will actually happen. But if I was looking at this story, in this story, no, the Jesus of the New Testament and the God of the Old Testament are not the same. This is why he told the Pharisees that y'all worship, an evil deity. Y'all worship the devil, because, and this is where some of the ideas of the demiurge come from. But no, they weren't on the same page. They taught things that were different from each other, like not to stone people. That was one of the things that was different, because they didn't want to stone that woman. But as far as him going to hell, he didn't necessarily go to hell. Even according to that book, it just says that he was in the grave. In the grave doesn't mean you went to hell. That's a later Catholic doctrine, that he went to hell and freed those people who were from the Old Testament, all the previous people who lived, that he went and he ministered to those people, and those who accepted him in hell then, came out of hell. That's a doctrine. There's nothing in the book that acts in that book that teaches that. That's an old doctrine. So I that's something that some dude wrote. I forgot who wrote that. It might have been Justin Martyr or Irenaeus who came up with that doctrine, but I'm not exactly sure. Maybe even Jerome, because Jerome used to come up with some crazy shit too. But they're not one. But as far as the book is concerned, Jesus and the Old Testament God are two different gods. Plus, the Old Testament God is just Canaanite God Yahweh. Um, let's see, missed a couple of comments. I try to tell people, at least read the Bible. If you really read it for yourself, take notes, you would turn away from it. Yeah, and that's what most of us have done. We read it and we walk away from it. We study it and walk away from it. You ain't got to study it hard to walk away from it. Moses is an example. Moses is an example to take your shoes off and go outside and walk in the grass and grounding. Yeah, grounding is a great revitalization, because your magnetic field gets in sync with the Earth's magnetic field, and you get connected. Especially if you can ground and you're away from all the electromagnetic static from all these wires and all that kind of stuff, and you can get in sync with yourself, with the Earth, with nature. I tell you, I'll be out there hearing shit. I hear the Earth speaking to me when I'm out there grounding. I be coming away with some deep thoughts and revelations, especially when I'm around water. I might act stupid and act a fool when I'm around water and say stupid stuff, but let me tell y'all, that water, being around some grounding around water is like, for me, whoo, I gotta tell you. Especially last time I went to the beach and we had some magic, some M&Ms. And something about that beach and that water and them waves and that energy, whoo! It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. I was way outside myself. Let's continue. What we at? 38? Nope, 39. Jesus said, the Pharisees and the scholars have taken the keys of knowledge and hidden them. They have not entered, nor have they allowed those who want to enter to do so. As for you, be as sly as snakes and as simple as doves. Now, I know y'all are gonna, a lot of people, they love this one, and it's easy to understand. You got these, I was talking to a guy, who was that? Oh, my Muslim teacher, my Muslim guy who comes through, right? We was talking about this, and he was telling me how there was a pastor. This guy is still a pastor, and he was telling him that there's no way to historically prove that Jesus ever existed. This man is a pastor. He still go preaches in his church. He's still preaching Jesus. He know there's no historical Jesus, but yet he still teaches it. I have come across and met many pastors who know all the things that I tell you that we talk about in deconstructing this Bible, and yet they still teach it. I had one who wanted to get out of teaching so badly, but he was with the Methodist church, and he had been in it so long and been out of his actual career field that he knew that he wouldn't be able to take care of his family financially. So he had to stay and he had to keep teaching. Right. And I got to tell you, it's heartbreaking to me to know that these guys, they know this information. They know it, but they stuck. They caught. I know some dudes who come in here. They're pastors. They know, but they're stuck. But the worst ones are the ones who don't even try. They so caught up in faith, they see the knowledge, hear the knowledge, and don't even acknowledge it. They go to those seminaries where they have to take those statements of saying that no matter what you learn, you're still going to preach and teach this, you know, and they can't escape it. I know some Muslim, what do you call this Islamic guy? There's imams. I know some imams stuck. My guy who comes in here, he admits to some of the things about Islam that's, it's stuck. But what's worse is what Janice just typed. Get out of my head, Janice. It's the hidden knowledge. The hidden knowledge that they refuse to teach you. They refuse to let you know. One of the reasons why they hid the Gospel of Thomas for so long is because we're going to get to many parts of it where it says that the kingdom of God is inside of you and all around you. That only through the knowledge of self that you can obtain the kingdom. That you can't do it through a church or your male, female doesn't matter. It is only through understanding, through knowledge that you can get there. All that sacrificing and forgiving and Jesus's and all that. No. Secret knowledge. This is also one reason why people hate secret organizations. We've went over it many times before, and we're not going to get into it today. Yes, I am a Mason. Yes, Masonry is it's not a secret organization. It's just an organization that has secrets. Its biggest premise is making good men better. And we do that through some deep philosophical knowledge. If you're not willing, and it's not about world domination. There are good ones, there are bad ones. There are good organizations, there are bad organizations. You can find this in everything. That's why I don't get all caught up into that debate. Do I know everything in it? Nope, I don't. Is there more secret knowledge? Sure. Am I going to find out? Of course. But many people don't like these organizations because of what they've been told by people who've never been in these organizations. I don't trust somebody to tell me about the Illuminati who's never been in the Illuminati. You can't tell me about Masonry if you've never been a Mason. You can't tell me about the Rosicrucians if you've never been a Rosicrucian, the Bilderbergs, None of these organizations. Are there some jacked up people who are a part of Skull and Bones and all that? Yes. Do they run the majority of policies in the world? Yes. Are they all evil? No. Because everybody who does something, all of them think they're doing something that's for the betterment of the world. That this is keeping the world safe. This keeps the world running. Some people got to get their ass whooped so that the world can keep running. This person over here got to die so that the world can stay safe. These governmental rules, yeah, it's going to mess up those people over there, but it's going to help the majority of people. We have to keep this balance. This is why I could never be a politician. Well, I ain't gonna say I could never be a politician. I would just probably get killed if I ever became a politician. Because I'm like, look, hey, y'all wanted this money to change the educational system in Georgia, but in order to get this money to change the educational system in Georgia, we had to let this corporation or that corporation come in and do X, Y, and Z. All right. In order to and y'all want jobs, well, Amazon gonna put 5 new fulfillment centers in Georgia over the next 2 years. In order for those 15,000 jobs to now come to Georgia, or 20,000 jobs to come to Georgia, we got to give them a tax break. Y'all love having the Marvel shooting all these movies here in Georgia. We had to give them a tax break. Yeah, they're a big rich company, but y'all want them jobs that come with it. I would be the politician that just tells y'all straight up, and then y'all gonna be mad at me. Oh, he just for the rich people. No, my friend. I just created 50,000 jobs in the state over the last 2 years. You got to make some deals. It's a true reality, but people don't like that. People want everything to be above board. But and even that, how those things happen is hidden knowledge, right? But do people really want it? Bill Gates and his eugenics belief. Does he have eugenics belief? I thought he had population control, like killing, like getting rid of half the people. Eugenics isn't eugenics saying that that's what that's what they did to teach that black people are less human than white people, and that we can take more pain, which is why black women still die higher in childbirth than Caucasians, and we get less treatment because isn't that eugenics? I could be wrong, but I thought that's what eugenics were. Am I thinking about the wrong word? I need Dr. Google to fish that out for me. Or that black people are less than, or because I thought he was all about population control. But is that eugenics? What is the one that they use in, like, especially in medical? All right, I had to check out his TED talk, and I could have swore eugenics was different, but either way, I know he does the population control thing. Uh, your family members that had a DNA. He openly talks about vaccines killing off the global population. That's a false perception that humans can improve by determining who gets reproduced or not. No, it is. It is. You don't know what. All right. Here's my Dr. Google. Scientifically erroneous and immoral theory of racial improvement and planned breeding. Okay. What is the one that says that we can take more pain than other people? It was taught in the early 1900s. Now I'm going to have to find that out. Affect human beings and eliminate these so-called social ills through genetics and heredity. I'm gonna go a little bit. Okay, y'all finna get mad at me a little bit. Y'all finna get mad at me a little bit. All right. I want y'all to think about this, okay? I want you to critically think about this. All right, get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. When the transatlantic slave trade ended in the Americas, and the only way to get new slaves was to breed slaves, they would take the strongest males and they would stud them out to the other plantations, right? This is what happened widespread across the southeast especially, right? But across the south, this is what they did. We were bred in this country, right? They purposely did that in the from the 1600s all the way up to the late 1800s. We were bred, and a whole bunch of black people and white people got mad at me back in '92 when I expressed this when we was out on ship, because we was talking about the Olympics and how, because it was talking to these racist white dudes. And he was like, I was talking to this racist white dude, but it was like, why is it? He was like, American blacks at the time dominate in sports more so than Africans, because during colonization of Africa, they didn't force breed black people like they did. They didn't force breed the Africans like they did the black people in America. So genetically, we were bred to be stronger, faster, which is why American athletes, black American athletes, whoop ass, right? We've done so for a very, very, very long time, right? It's starting to diminish, but we have for a long time. So there is something to breeding. You know, we can see it with almost any other animal, right? The concept that blacks had a higher pain tolerance was a 19th century claim by a slave owner called Thomas Hamilton. Right, but what did he call it? It was something that he called it that they used to teach. But so there is something to breeding and the health of breeding and what you get out of it. I mean, look at Wembenyama. If y'all know who Wembenyama is, he's the French kid that's coming to play with the San Antonio Spurs. His daddy, 6'8", 6'6", 6'8". His mama 6'3". His mother played professional basketball, I believe. His daddy played professional soccer and lacrosse or something like that. Or, you know, he was a professional athlete. And they got a big 7'3", 7'4" son athlete. That ball dude was, I forgot what the ball boy's daddy name is. He specifically said he wanted a female who was an athlete so that he can have athletic children. That's what he got. There's something to it. Now, should that be used to determine what persons get to live? No, for the most part. No, I don't think it does. Should we? But and there are some instances that we should. Like, they don't make you do it anymore, but you used to have to take a blood test before you get married. And the reason, and I thought that was a good thing, because you need to make sure you're not marrying family, and then because you could produce a child with Down syndrome or something like that. And if y'all, as black people, if you, what is it? What's the disease? Um, T-Boz has it. You shouldn't, two people with that same trait shouldn't get married, because you're pretty much going to have a child that has that disease. So there is some science behind it. But as a, it shouldn't be, you shouldn't do it. It shouldn't be something that you shouldn't be able to determine who gets to have a baby and who doesn't. Even if you do have two people with, is it sickle? No, not diabetes. She doesn't have diabetes. She got something else. It's something else that T-Boss has. Is it sickle cell? I think she's sickle cell anemic. But yeah, two people with sickle cell. I'm be honest. If I had found out that I had sickle cell, well, they did try to say that I had sickle cell. They saw one sickle cell, but then they realized that it was a false right, sickle cell. They realized it was a false. Um, it was a false positive, and they redid the test and found out that I didn't have sickle cell. But if I had sickle cell and I found out that when I was getting ready to marry their mom that she had sickle cell, we wouldn't have got married. Or if we would have got married, it'd been like we not having children. So I do think you should be able to, you know, I did like it when they used to do that because it gives you the option to make a choice. Actually, you should check on that, Janice, because here's the thing. This is the bullshit they try to do. I do think that there is. This is gonna sound conspiracy theory, but Janice is saying that her dad had told me that his mother was a hair from being full-blooded Cherokee Indian. There was no Cherokee Indian blood found when her family member had a DNA test done. You should check that because let me tell you, there has to be an effort to make sure that us melanated people do not get enough Indian blood on those DNA tests so that they can protect that Indian money. They don't want that. It's all about the money. Follow the money on that one. Follow the money, right? And yes, some of our ancestors was already here. I ain't gonna say always because there are migration patterns, but by the time the Caucasians got here, um, a lot of our family members, a lot of us do have indigenous family members, but not as many as we think, though. Too many people try to claim indigenous, man. It's not as many as we think. You got to remember those. A lot of them were decimated. You don't lose 70 to 90% of the population, and then all of a sudden, 70 to 90% of the population here today is claiming that they got that blood in them. They don't. And if you ain't got proof of it, like Angelina, she has documented proof of her family members that were, I forgot what tribe it was, but she showed it to me and I was like, wow, that's cool. She got the paperwork that shows that her family lineage to the Native Americans. Right? Just like I know mine is very little Creek, but the overwhelming majority of mine is from my father. It's Mali, and from my mom is Yoruba and Igbo. So I can't claim Native American. My kids, though, because of their grandfather on their mama's side, they should have higher traits of it. But when one of my children did the DNA test, they didn't give her any native. I'm like, hold on, your great grandfather on your mama's side, or great grandfather and grandmother on your mama's side were full blooded Creek Indians. There is absolutely no way y'all get. She's got a zero. Look at the globe and look at the Gulf Stream, the Gulf current. That current will take a flat bottom boat from the west coast of Africa to the east coast of the US. Yeah, it will. No, slavery in America wasn't overwhelmingly done by the people that were already here. The people who were already here had never come in contact with all the diseases that they had. And because there wasn't horses and congestion, the natives in America didn't congregate like the Europeans did. And your statement seemed contradictory, Anthony. When I look at the first one, when you talk about that current will take a flat bottom boat from West Africa to the east coast of the U.S., that indicates that they came over here. They would come here. This is where they would go. And Africans had already came here beforehand because the people of Ghana had already been trading with the Native Americans, right? The oppressors took the natives here, one part of the country, to other parts of the country. They didn't really start going out west until the late 1700s in the early 1800s, and for the most part, it went to the later 1800s that they really went out west. All right. I'm not saying that there were no native slaves. There were, but even the natives record their people dying of mass diseases. I don't understand what's so hard to accept that Africans got records of them stealing African people and bringing them to America. Europeans got records of them stealing and conquering Africans and bringing them to America. They had whole corporations built to do that because it was a lucrative amount. It was lucrative. You got records of natives who saw them bringing Africans over here. You got records from natives who show that they took them as slaves as well. You got records of natives who accepted the former Africans into their tribes because they escaped from slavery. There's too many records from different people that show that this slave trade happened. You know, but if that's what you want to believe, you can go ahead and believe it. I'm gonna go with what I can prove. I'm not gonna suppose. Yeah, you take a person from Maine and you bring them down to Alabama on a boat. They may think they're in a different country. That's possible, but there's too many records showing it. It's too much. And most of the slaves didn't even come to North America. Most of them went to the Caribbean and then into South America. And if you go into the South America, there's a lot more black people down there than there are up here. Now, did they keep records of their family history? For the most part, they didn't. They Most of the time it's like, okay, we brought over 100 people. You know, 20 of them died on the 2-month voyage over. But they came from this area. They came from Ghana or Liberia, or they just would have where they came from. They didn't have their direct family records. And then oftentimes when they were sold into this family, and you might have that record. Some of the research that I had to do was going and finding some of the churches that my family members had been a part of, and the church had those. They kept those Bibles where they recorded who married who and all this stuff. I'm not going to continue to go in a circle about, you know, whether the slave trade happened or not. I found people who are caught up into that one. The only thing they can hear in their mind is we were here, we were here, we were here, we were here. Right? They take a small sample of something of shipping. Yes, did Columbus and them take some of the Taino people and bring them to Europe or ship them in other places? Sure. Did Cortez do the same thing? Sure. But a micro of something being done does not make the macro. And I'm not going to disrespect my ancestors who suffered through that bullshit. And I'm here because of that by saying that, nah, that didn't happen. I know it happened. I've been there. I've been to Africa and saw some of the ports. So I've been to Africa and saw some of the records. In Virginia, in 60. Okay. You can have it, Anthony. That's what you believe. I'll let you go. If you want to take those facts and run with those and put that as far as everything, that's fine. And you saying in Virginia there was a census of Virginia, where there was the census for all 13 colonies? Was it for all the territories? Was it for the Caribbean islands? Was it for South America? Or was it just for Virginia? You're stating facts, but you're not giving the full context of the facts, sir. Because I don't think Virginia would have did a census. The state of Virginia would have spent the money to do a census for the Western Hemisphere. and then 1619, 1619, 1619. So you're also talking about a time frame in 1619, still under British rule. Um, I have to look and see if if taxation had anything to do with it. There was no United States in 1619. There was only the 13 colonies, and each colony was independently ran. They were still under the British crown. So that would not have been a U.S. census. All right, we're getting off track. I mean, it's after 12. That's fine. But I still want to. I still want to get past. We got to at least do. Well, I think we've already done 10 of them, but we got to do some more than that. We can come back. We can circle back to this conversation. What up, Donald? Grand Rising, sir. Where? What was the last one we read? You're gonna find me the Pharisees. Yeah, but secret knowledge. I wanted to get back to secret knowledge. Um, so, like for the emerald tablets, they say they found all 10 emerald tablets. I mean, all 13 emerald tablets. I've seen 10 of them. They will only allow you to see 10 of them. They won't let you see the other three. I've not known anybody who's seen the other three. Right? I thought it was a hoax until I actually seen them. Right? And of course, I couldn't read them because I don't know that language. But I thought it was a hoax until I seen it. But I was curious why they won't let you see the other three tablets. It's kind of interesting, right? Why can't you see the other three tablets? Because there's information, there's understandings that they don't want people. There's always some secret knowledge that they don't want you to understand, especially when it comes to things that are about alchemy, that are about who you are, that are how universal forces work and energy work. The fact that the Kabbalion was hidden in so many other books. Like if you read any of Napoleon Hill books and then read the Kabbalion, read the Kabbalion first and then read any Napoleon Hill book, and you will see those elements of the Kabbalion in Napoleon Hill books. He structures them in between the lines, right? But you will come to understand them. And he also structures in Tantra. So they will use Tantra to keep you, to make you think that, oh, it's all about sex, it's all about sex, but actually it's about spiritual union and growing of your spirituality, right? Through the use of sex energy. But they don't want you to know that, because if you knew that and did that, then you and your partner can become a greater force in the process of what Napoleon Hill called sexual masterminding or sex transmutation. And you begin to manifest things in yourself that manifest outwardly in your life. So there's tons of information like that they don't want you to have. And then half of them don't know it themselves. Like, especially these ministers, when it comes to sex magic, they don't know shit about it. But you have to be sneaky as, in order to get it, you got to be sly as a snake and simple as a dove. Because some of the things that I've seen in my life, I had to be slick with it. I had to be slick. And then when I went in to see things, I had to be simple. Getting into the Vatican Library, I was slick with it. And you have to be soft with it. From the I can appreciate it, Anthony, but I don't give out my phone number. See, in order to contact you through text messaging, I don't give out my phone number because people start calling me, and they I understand how the person feels on the other end, like it's just them calling me, but I got too many people calling me, right? It's too much to handle. It's too much, and I don't want to treat people that way. And then I got people who pay me to call me, and that's not fair to them. So we'll have to just keep communicating like this, or through text, through IMs or whatever, DMs things. Um, and then it just takes up too much of my time. Right. you'll give me yours, but in order for me to contact you, you'll then have mine. And I've done that before in the past, and I'm not putting you in the same category as some of these other people. But when I've done that in the past, other people, then all of a sudden the person thinks they can call me anytime they want to, and they can have me on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, ask me all these questions. And I'm like, dude, there's a value to this thing. You see what I'm saying? And we can even do a whole video about that subject matter. But we're gonna talk about it in a minute. I just want to read some more of this. But we're gonna talk about it in just a minute. And actually, you're on Facebook. Hell, I think I can bring you on to talk about it. But let me get through a few more of these first, because I don't want the gospel telling us to take, as you know, it took us what 13 weeks to do the Kabbalion. I don't want to take 13 weeks to do this book. Jesus said, "A grapevine has been planted apart from the Father. Since it is not strong, it will be pulled up by its roots and will perish." So I want y'all to think about that in the terms of, this is why you can look at this and say, okay, this is speaking of the demiurge, because the demiurge supposedly tried to create without Sophia wisdom, and tried to create only in the masculine energy. In that creation, it trapped other divinity, other divine spirit souls into this matter plane of existence. But this is where this kind of correlates to that idea of a demiurge. All right. But since it's not strong, it will be pulled up by its roots and it will perish. This matter plane cannot continue, rather. Like the universe is eternal, but this matter plane of existence is not eternal. Not because it's not created by the all, with both masculine and feminine working hand in hand, but by an overpowering masculine energy that is trying to um, that wanted to manifest his own, create on his own. But you can look at that also in how you do everything in your life. If everything is not done balanced through your positive and negative energy, then and negative, we use the term negative, and we went over this when we talked about the Kabbalion. It is not negative that the female energy, the feminine energy is negative. It's just the opposites, right? That's all, just opposite energies. So the masculine and feminine energy have to be at work in balance in order to manifest anything. Without it, you don't create. Your creation is weak. 41. Those who have something in hand will be given more, and those who have nothing will be deprived of even the little that they have. There is a biblical teaching that goes hand in hand with this one, where it talks about the talents, the people with talents, right? If one thing, and it was interesting, I've never had a preacher who actually preached on it, and I challenged a few pastors to preach on this at the end of that story. But at the end of that story, the one who had made the most money was given the money that from the one that had that had hidden the money, right? The one in the middle didn't get anything extra. So the more you do with something, the more that you can grow something, double something, it's gonna be taken from the ones who ain't doing shit with it. So y'all finna get mad at me again. I don't get mad when people say the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. If I had $100,000, if you had $100,000, are you going to give that $100,000 and you want to make it grow? You want to keep it safe. Are you going to give it to the one who is doing the least, or are you going to give it to the one who's demonstrated that they're doing the most with it? Right? I think knowledge and spirituality is the same thing, same way. I think the universe gives knowledge and spirituality to those who are doing the most with it, those who are living it, who are demonstrating it in their daily life. Those who don't, who may say it, those who walk around with, and they might have a Hannah Hansama, they might have a all-seeing eye, and they might have a damn unk on, and they wearing their hair natural, and they wearing their clothes, and they doing all that. but in their daily life, their actions don't show it. They look the part, but they're not the part. Those people I refuse to listen to as far as them trying to teach the secret knowledge, the hidden knowledge. They're not holding the key, right? So, and they get deprived. They're often messed up in their life, right? You're going to, exactly, dumb. You're going to give it to the one that can make the most out of it. I think knowledge and spirituality works the exact same way. Those who are elevating their consciousness, they will continue to receive. And those who are not, they will not get, they will not receive. They will have base level shit. They will remain in elementary school their entire existence in this current existence. Those who are certainly caught up in these religions and refuse to open their eye will always stay there. They will always and forever stay stuck. So I don't get mad when I see when the rich keep getting richer, because I think about it in larger terms than just, what people have. Now, do I think people should be like Brett Favre stealing from people? No, you don't steal from people. I think the universe will it'll just be given based on your actions, because you will attract that to you, right? If you want to attract money, do better with the money you got. It's really that simple. You ain't got to sit around and say, "Oh, the check is in the mail. The check is." Now, unless you play in the lottery, like I do sometimes. I'm mad that somebody in Florida won that 1.5 billion and I didn't win it. But if you want to attract money, other than gambling, uh, even in some levels of gambling, there are techniques. But if you want to attract money, do better with the money that you got, and you'll be able to attract more and more money because you will be consistently growing that money, and more money comes your way. What did Einstein say? The greatest thing he ever seen is compounding interest. If you want to attract more love, shit, show it. Show more love, and you'll attract more love, especially in these relationships. Matter of fact, I just did a little short counseling session yesterday about relationships, and the fact of the matter is, if you're not worried about, if you're more worried about people on the outside and what they think concerning who you are in your relationship, and not concerned about the person on the inside with you, your foundation is going to break and crack, and then you're going to find yourself without that relationship. That person that you're trying to live the rest of your life with should be the most important person that you're showing the most love to. Not your kids, not your mama, not your daddy, not any other person outside of yourself. Show most love to yourself. The second person who gets the next amount of love should be that person that you're trying to live the rest of your life with, or that persons, because y'all know I accept polygamy and polyamory. So, if you're doing that, then you need to make sure all three of them, four of them, five of them, however many of them it is, right? But when you're concerned about friends and family and all that bullshit more so than the one that's in your house, you're going to attract, because you're showing the outside. You're going to attract more from the outside than from the inside, but that inside is going to leave your ass. Gonna get tired of you. What if you've been with me for a while? You know I've always repeated what my grandmother told me. Whatever you did to get her, you got to do twice as much to keep her, and you best stay on it. I've failed at that once in my life, and only once. The rest of my life, I've succeeded at that, but other people have not. So that's how you need to be. Whatever you want in your life, be that thing, and you'll get more of it. But you got to be it. You got to live it. It has to be your I becoming. It has to be the me that you are becoming consistently, always growing, infinite growth. Get that balance between your business and your personal life. Times capacity plus capacity equals infinite growth, and you'll continue to grow. And 42 just says, be passersby, recognizing that this is a temporary place. All of this is temporary. None of this is long standing. None of this earth is not finite. I mean, it's not infinite, it's finite. Hell, it's finite. Just think about science. It's finite. At some point, the sun will grow so large and put out so much solar radiation, the earth will burn and it will become uninhabitable. And before that, the moon will get so far away from the earth that we won't have tides anymore on this planet in the same way that we have them now. Without tides, a whole lot of messed up stuff gonna happen on this planet at that point. The current modern day form of humans won't be able to survive in that type of environment because it'd be hot as hell. It'd be hot without currents. 43. His disciples said to him, who are you to say these things to us? You don't understand. And this is Jesus speaking, I think. You don't understand who I am from what I say to you. Rather, you have become like the Judeans, for they love the tree but hate its fruit, or they love the fruit but hate the tree. Basically, not recognizing, because like, who are you, dude? Who are you that you say? And I don't think they say it like that, but who are you to say these things to us? Because this character was saying things that was like, whoa, the establishment hasn't been saying that. You're saying something different from the establishment. But he's saying you don't understand who I am from what I say to you. You don't know me. You don't know that I am a higher conscious being. I am of a higher consciousness, right? And you either love the old and hate this new, what is producing, what you either love the tree but hate the fruit. You love the tradition, but I'm telling you what the tradition should be producing as fruit, that you don't like this fruit. Or you loving this fruit, but you're hating this tradition, right? And for some of us, that part is gonna be like, this is why I had to dissolve myself from all of it. Because I can't take the fruit of Christianity. And in order that if I take the fruit of Christianity, I need to love all the roots of it, the tree of it, where it comes from, right? But if I love that tree, I can't stand this fruit. What if she wants to be kept? Yeah. Well, if they don't, then they got to go. I don't worry about them. That's why earlier we went over a verse with basically it said, "Don't worry about shit." If a person doesn't want to be with me, it might sting for about 10 seconds. Then they get. Then I'm gonna compartmentalize it. Then I'm going to go through my process of understanding my emotions towards it. Then I'm going to understand my emotions and compartmentalize my emotions. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. And I say hurt for 10 seconds. It's gonna hurt for a little while. But it's not gonna stop me from living my life. I'm like, okay, but she just didn't want to be with me. I never really was hers. She had a different agenda. I bought into it. It is what it is. But this is where I have to uproot the tree. And all of us, most of us, had to uproot the tree. And we uprooted that tree and we planted new seeds. And we're growing a new tree that we can love and the fruit, loving both the tree and the fruit. If you can't love the tree and the fruit, then you don't need to be in that state of mind, that condition, that belief. You need to let it go. They were going to let it go. Just another love TKO. All right. Let's do one more, and then we'll just do open conversation. We can go back to the other one if you guys want to. Jesus said, "Whoever blasphemes against the Father will be forgiven, and whoever blasphemes against the Son will be forgiven. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either on earth or in heaven." Now, my take on this one is wholly different from what the church and what many of the scholars, so-called scholars, view it. Now, I do agree. You blaspheme against the Father, you can be forgiven because the all ain't running around here with all these feelings like the Bible says, like the jealous God and the angry God and all that bullshit. It just created because it just simply creates. Here you go. do whatever with it as you will. I don't need you, but I just made you. You're nice. What it is, what it is. But y'all don't need us. It's not like we got to become part of all the people who say that, God just wanted to have a human. We're all part of God, and it just desired to have a human experience. You can't be the all if desire compels you to do anything. So if I say Yahweh ain't real, fuck Yahweh, or what's the Jesus fake, bruh, fuck Jesus, I ain't blaspheming. I mean, maybe to that person, they may feel that way. And that's why I say if you blaspheme against the Son, you'll be forgiven. Okay. Because neither one of them should care how I feel or what I think about them. But if you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, you will not be forgiven either on earth or in heaven. What is that spirit? That's you. You the spirit. And I don't think there's this Holy Spirit that came from the Father and dwell within you and all that kind of stuff. You as the moment of your consciousness came into understanding it's a consciousness, because that energy has always been here. It already had a soul, a Holy Spirit, so to speak. Right? It already had your divine spirit. Blaspheming against that spirit is you blaspheming against you. Blaspheming against you. You go into a church that you hate. We talked about this, I think, in part 1. You go into a church that you hate. You're praying and you hate praying. You're fasting and you hate fasting. You're giving to charity and you hate giving to charity. You doing anything that you hate that doesn't hurt anybody else but you, then you are blaspheming against you. And if you have done these things against you, then it takes you to forgive you. But because you are caught up, because people are caught up in these relationships and traditions and religions and all those things, they don't have the ability to forgive themselves and free themselves. So since they don't have that ability to forgive themselves and free themselves in any of their states of consciousness at this point, remember when we was going through samsara, the reason why you see all those negative imageries, all those negative things, all that I'm a filthy rag and I deserve heaven if it wasn't for Jesus and all this kind of stuff, all those negative thoughts are manifested by you, not manifested by a God, not manifested by a son, not manifested because a book says so. It's manifested because you believe them. You accepted it. And when you and here's the thing. When I hear these people like, oh, I'm saved by the blood, I'm saved by the blood, I'm saved by the blood, they don't really believe it. I'm gonna say that 99% of them don't really believe that. 99% of them have been told over and over and over and over again that they are not worthy, that they're worthless, that they're filthy rags, that their God regretted ever creating them. 99% of them believe the negative. If you don't think so, the evidence is such in how we live our life. What's my man? Y'all know my Marvel. I love Marvel, right? My man who's playing Kane. I forgot his name. He's playing Kane. Everybody, most people immediately believe the negative right off the bat. Immediately. The negative is what they grabbed onto, what they held onto. We humans immediately gravitate to the negative. I could come out and I can do a video that's all positive. And then I can do a video that's all negative, opposite of whatever I just talked about. The one that's all negative would get more views. Jonathan Majors, thank you. The one that's all negative will get more views. It will get more commentary. It will get more of that than it will get positive. I used to do videos where I talk about, opening chakras and connecting with people and all these kinds of things, right? And people, the people of right mind would listen to those and be like, yes. And that's what they would connect to. But I started doing videos deconstructing the Bible, and I'll be damned if I didn't get more people, and most of them were Christians, just coming at it, and they listen to it, and they watching it, and they following, and if y'all have been on here, y'all seen like I'm asking people, why are you here? You're not my audience. You're not the people I'm talking to. We naturally gravitate towards the negative. There was once a news channel. It was like the Good News Channel. All they want to do is talk the good news stories. Happy go lucky good news stories. That shit failed. I think they lasted a season. And it failed. Why did it fail? Because people don't want to hear good news. They want to hear negative. They want to hear about, you know, the January 6th and Trump. They want to hear about Bill Clinton and skeeting on that girl. You know, they want to hear about, you know, the murders and the bank robberies and, you know, the rich person who got caught doing a scam or something like that. They want all that negative. I'm convinced that everybody who does the flat earth thing is doing the flat earth thing because it goes against the grain. Oh, appreciate that, Donald. Thanks for the super chat. So now I got to pay it. What do you say? Got to give you recognition. Ooh, I can heart that thing. I didn't know I can do that. Look at that. That's why the Bible's full of soap opera stories and drama. Yeah, the Bible doesn't. It's not this great religion. If you went on a religion that's based on saying good shit, everybody would be a Taoist. The majority of people will be a Taoist. I'm not saying everybody. The majority of people will be a Taoist. But the Bible is full of drama. The Quran is full of drama. The Talmud is full of drama. The Bhagavad Gita is full of drama. These books are full of drama. Buddhism, not full of drama. Taoism, even less drama than Buddhism. People don't like them books as much. They're not going to gravitate to those books. They want the misery. And it makes them feel better that they're not doing it, that they're not going through it. Oh, look at this genocide. I'm glad we know. We don't go through it like that, but God damn. You know that there are people still today that when I say that, man, if Rwanda wasn't landlocked, I would love to live in Rwanda. Man, I couldn't live in Rwanda, man. They're going through civil war and genocide. What about the genocide? I'm like, fool. That was in the mid 90s. That was 20 plus years ago. What are you talking about? Rwanda is Kigali is one of the safest and cleanest cities in the world. And if you're an IT or a finance person, that's where you should be. If you wanted to go to Africa and build a company free of all this bullshit in America. But people are stuck on the negative narrative. We stay stuck on that negative narrative. We love the negative. The Bible is filled with negative narratives. All that drama. People stay connected to it. They love to hear it. We love the underdog story. Overcoming triumph and people getting in your way and trying to stop you. That's why Dodgeball became a good popular movie. The Water Boy. Stupid ass movies, but they were great. People loved them. I thought it was funny, but loved them. That drama. People used to watch soap operas. And the bigger the drama. I'm going to show my age again. Who Shot JR was the most talked about thing back in the day that I can remember. Right? That summer, it was, I mean, everybody was talking about who shot JR, who shot JR, who shot JR, who was it? You know, not who's JR marrying. Everybody who used to watch that show, Dallas, I think it was called. If you tried to name, if everybody knows JR, don't nobody know. I mean, don't nobody. Most people don't know the other characters, but you know JR. Why? Because JR was the most dramatic creating Joker out there. I ain't gonna lie. I fall to it. I fall to it to a certain degree. I can't wait for the 11th of August because the 7th season of Billions come back on. I love Billions. It's filled with drama. It's filled with drama. Yeah, Debbie and Donald, y'all know what I'm talking about. But it's filled with drama. We love the drama. They love the drama. That's why they got to stay stuck with it. And because now, if you don't free yourself from the love of the drama, you can be interested in the drama. The drama can entertain you. I'm not saying that you should avoid it at all costs. It can entertain you. But these people who are stuck, those people who are blaspheming against themselves, they stay with it. They embody it. They let it become a part of them. And because they let it become a part of them, when they do transcend from this poverty meat suit, they're going to carry that in the back of their mind. So although they're saying that I'm going to heaven, no, you're not. You're going to manifest your own hell, and you're going to be attracted if you don't come back, if you don't go into the light. So let's use samsara for as our method here. If you don't go into the light and go to a higher state of being, and the womb that you're attracted to is going to be the womb that's going to have the drama in it that fits the drama you believe in. It's going to be the hell that fits the hell that you believe in, that you deserve. If I do have to come back to this existence, my ass is going to be on top. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming into a family that's on top. A one that got a loving family, a one that's not broke as hell, one that's you know ain't criminals and all that shit coming back. If I did come back, if I decide to come back, I'm not coming back. I'm tired of y'all. Y'all mean Earth. Mm. But my mind in this state is not coming back at all. But if I chose to come back, I would not be attracted to some jacked up existence filled with drama. No, because I don't believe I deserve none of that. I believe that I deserve greatness. No, let me rephrase that. I know that I deserve greatness. So no, you're going to get whatever you think. You're getting what you think now. So why wouldn't you get what you think then? It's going to be the same. It's going to be exactly the same. All right. So I'm going to stop right there with the Gospel of Thomas. We went from what? We didn't go as far as I wanted to go today, but it's all right. It's 12:36 at any moment, and the rain has stopped. So my old man crew may show up in the next 30 minutes. Um, let me unlock this door. Yeah. Good old schizophrenic Atlanta weather. Although that wind blowing this morning, whoo, when I opened the bathroom door to the bedroom and that wind came gushing through, man, it felt good. That was some nice wind. So you love Billions? Yeah, Billions is a great show. But I won't embody it. I refuse to embody that show. I refuse to embody any negativity. You know, I had to check myself yesterday because I almost embodied some negativity. And I was like, nope, we're not doing that. It was her. So this was on, I'm going to go ahead and say this. On Friday, I'm not going to go back into that conversation about the slave trade and natives and all that kind of stuff. Friday, that's what we're talking about on Friday. That's Friday's show. That's what we're talking about on Friday. All right. And don't let certain things work out the way I want them to work out, because then I will have all day Friday up until about 5 o'clock. But Friday, we're going to talk about that. All right. So, what's it? Anthony? Friday. And Anthony, either be on, you're on Facebook right now, that's good. It'd be better if you was on TikTok. Are you on TikTok, Anthony? I know how to bring people on TikTok much better than Facebook. Hmm. And because I'm doing Facebook on my laptop, I'm not even sure I can do it on Facebook. Oh shit! No. But if you're available Friday, Anthony, come on YouTube. Don't do YouTube. Do TikTok. It's Wildlife Religion with Coach Renz. It's Coach Renz on TikTok as well. Wildlife Religion with Coach Renz on TikTok as well. Love the. Then you can express it without texting, typing. So that's what we're gonna talk about on Friday. You know, I don't know a title for it yet. But I don't understand that fight. I don't even see a need for that fight, to be honest. I'm going to tell you what my end result for that is. And the reason why I haven't talked about it that much. I don't even see the point. What's the point? I actually had a falling out from a guy that I was somewhat cool with. And then he did some other stuff that I had to just walk away from him. But I had to tell him one time, I said, okay, dude, you're doing all this. We were here. All right, cool. What are you doing with it? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to get that money that contract was only to the 5 civilized tribes? You going to get that money? You going to get that education? You going to get that casino? What you going to do with it? You going to get some land? Because if all you're doing just just going off at the mouth about it, show me something. Now, and he's trying to put himself as a leader of it. Now, if you're just a person who's following, then okay, just spout the information, because you do have to have people. If you create a movement, you need those who are just information providers. But if you are in those upper echelons of it, you got to be making tangible moves. I don't see none of those dudes making tangible moves. Who's the dude? The main guy that I hear people talking about, I think it's Callaway or something like that. I don't see no tangible moves from this brother. I respect what he's doing as far as putting out information, but I don't see nothing tangible. I don't see you doing anything that's better in the community, that's helping out people who are melanated. So, to me, you're not worth my time. This is why I had opportunities to be on shows with him, but I was just like, for what? So we can go in circles, just so you can say I'm right. Shit about that. I don't care about that. I'm trying to get through all my teachings, through everything that I do. I'm trying to get organized, one. Two, those who are willing to move to Africa where we can make more money and make more of an impact on the condition of melanated people, get your ass over there, build a business that could then bring other people over there as employees so we can have a better life, safer life. I don't give a shit what country we're in. Third, let's all come to the Southeast. We need to take over the Southeast. We need to rule. We can't, if we're not going to totally separate, we need to come and rule the areas that we live in. We need to be the superintendent of schools. We need to be the governor. We need to be the trash man, the superintendent of trash. I forgot what that of sanitation. We need to be the teachers. We need to be the electricians, the architects. We need to run every damn thing in the Southeast. We too small to be spread out. Everybody in Chicago need to come on down to Mississippi and take over Mississippi. Everybody in Detroit and come on Mississippi, Alabama, take over Mississippi. Come to Louisiana and take over Louisiana. I always say Chicago and Mississippi because most damn people from Chicago, black people in Chicago, are from family members came from Mississippi. But somebody on here is in Harlem. You ain't winning. You ain't taking over New York. Get your butt on down here to Atlanta. Even though we full, come on down. So go to Columbia or Augusta or Savannah and take over these other metropolitan areas, and then take over the rural areas. We need to control the Southeast, right? Tangible, something that has a long-lasting effect. So we're gonna talk about it. But at the end, you want to claim native? What you're doing is tangible. That's what I want to know. That's my main thing I want to know. We can talk about the facts and the figures and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But what does that really do for us today? And if you can show me where it does something for us today, great. Okay. My family was already here. Yay. What are we doing with it? What are we going to do with it? And the guy got into the argument with, well, first we got to know. First we got to know our own history. We got to know our own history. Okay. We know you know your history. What you doing with it? What impact has that made in you that now we're doing something? Now you're doing something with it. Talk to me. Tell me something good. Because now you know. You getting some land. We know about Tulsa. We know about Wilmington. We know about Lake Lanier. We know about Lake Lafayette. You know, we know about all these things. What are we doing with it? Other than crying and whining and saying, well, they're going to burn it down again. They're going to flood us out again. And you whining and crying like that, and get the hell on. Go be part of that 16% that ain't going to ever do shit. Get the hell away from me. Right? It's good to have that knowledge, but it's worthless if you don't use that knowledge to attain something in the now that can be long lasting in the future. If you let it put you in a rut, stay in your freaking rut. But shut up. But stop talking to me. Stop talking to those who want to do something. I even tell some of these jokers who come in here, hey, if you ain't part of the solution, shut up. Sit back and be quiet. Reap the benefits from what we do. All right, let me stop. Because that was a spoiler alert. That's how that conversation is going to end. That's how it's going to end. But we'll talk about it. We'll go through all of it. We'll go through all the facts. Just the facts. Because y'all know I don't care shit about people's feelings when it comes to facts. Yeah. But anyway, starting to get all worked up a little bit. I save it for Friday. So did y'all get anything out of today, out of the Gospel of Thomas part? Did any of it make a difference for you? Is it making you say, okay, I'm not going to, I was worrying about things, but now I'm not going to worry. I know there's secret knowledge out there. I'm going to go out and seek more of the secret knowledge and get the keys. I'm going to, I've still been wearing some of the socks of my oppressors. I still got on the shirt, a little bit of the shirt of the religion. I'm going to take all those things out. Oh yeah, Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Yeah, it is. I figure you got about 7 to 10 years to get a footprint in Rwanda before it's going to be a little bit too damn late. Like you got about 7 to 10 years. If you don't get into Rwanda in the next 7 to 10 years, then you're looking at now Tanzania. You got about 7 to 10 years as well, probably even less for both of them. Then you're going to be looking at Uganda. And then it depends on what you're doing. That first and foremost depends on what you're doing. Like what's your skill set, Anthony? I'm very good at taking a person's skill set and telling them and letting them know what they could, what's like a good pathway for them. I'm better at doing that for other people than I am myself, which is a horrible thing. It irritates the shit out of me. How does the Gospel of Thomas book look? Well, it's not a book. I mean, you can find books. What you're going to find as far as books is different scholars has translated it differently. I only look at the ones that just give me the translation. Some of them give you the translation and what they think it means and how it connects to other things. But understand that author before you buy that book. If that author is a Jesuit or Christian or Baptist or Muslim or whatever, they're going to have a slant in that direction. So you could just download multiple translations of it. A civil engineer, bruh, there's a whole bunch of countries you can go to. You can go to Ghana, Togo, Benin, Senegal, especially Senegal is really good right now. You can still go to Rwanda, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Lesotho. South Africa will be a little bit hard for you. South Africa is you'll have a hell of a lot more competition in South Africa. But to go and open up an engineering firm, you most likely not going to get a good job with the government, but you can, but opening up an engineering firm that works with the government, dude, you can go, civil engineering, and I don't know what levels and what specialties that you have, but you can make some bank, bro, setting up that. I'm thinking about going to Burundi, but I have to get my finances locked on autopilot. Once my VA is 100%, I'm out. Oh, now you're talking my language. You're talking my language, my guy. What, if you don't mind, what percentage are you at now, and how, and what are the years that you served, and what branch did you serve in, and what was your MOS? Um, or I don't know what. Yeah, in the Marine Corps we call it MOS. Yeah, definitely as a consultant. And you're in P%. What the hell is a P%? P. Did you mean to write 90? Let's see. Letter P is over there by the zero and the. Ah, yeah. He's a swabby. He's a squid. He's a cab driver that took us to the fight, y'all. The fuck? You had zero. Zero. Did you just get out yesterday? Oh, you're a CB. Okay. You know what? I like CBs. I like CBs. Y'all don't understand. A Navy CBs, them motherfuckers can come in the middle of nowhere and build some shit. They will build some stuff in a heartbeat. I watched the CBs build whole city, pretty much a whole town. I ain't gonna say a city, but build whole towns. Yeah. Bro, you got out when I got out. So where did you go? I know this has changed a little bit because I'm gonna help this brother. Did you go to Desert Storm, Bosnia, Rwanda? Where did you go as a CB? There's no way in hell you should be at zero. You ain't playing the game right. You are not playing the game right. Because we got to find your primary claims, and then other claims got to be secondary. So you went to Kuwait. Come on, man. How you zero? Oh man. All right, definitely send me a message. All right. This is the deal, Anthony. This is the deal. This is the deal. Send me your information. I'm gonna contact you. But if you start just calling my ass all the time, I'm gonna cut you off. All right. My objective is to get you, is to help you, is to give you what information I can to get you to your 100%. Some of the things that will get you there, I cannot say over this. Okay. But send me your info, bro. There ain't no way in here. And I understand the bullshit. When I got out 99, they gave me 10%. I'm at 100. I'm at 100. Right. But and you, and bruh, it's harder for a black person to get that 100%. So hit me up, and we're gonna have a conversation. I need more details about your where you been, what you did, and we'll go through. I'll give you information that if you use it, you can start getting that. You'll get that shit gonna go. It's gonna roll. It's gonna roll up. I went from 10% to 100% in less than 2 years, and it's nice. It's nice, and it's not undeserving. It's not undeserving. This is all messed up, and sometimes this gets messed up. Oh yeah. Nowadays, all right, I ain't trying to piss y'all off. You should be jealous. I ain't trying to piss y'all off. But I never look at something as one thing. When Trump first said he was going to run, I actually liked him because I only knew of him from the books that I've read that he had ghostwritten for him. I thought it was going to be a good thing. Ever since the 90s, I always thought that we should have a business person running this government. I voted for Ross Perot back in the day. Okay. Um, then the more and more Trump talked, more and more I realized this dude is stupid as hell, and he's an idiot. He's not ignorant. He's stupid. Um, but one thing he did do very well was change the process to which veterans can get um, their VA, and that change made it a lot easier for many veterans to get, for a lot of us veterans to get our just due, right? Under the rest of them presidents, that shit was hard as hell. It took my brother almost 20 years to get 100%. That's bullshit. That is utter bullshit. He was in Desert Storm when he was there during the build up and the kickoff, all the way until it ended, and then I got there right as it ended. So I will give him credit for that. That's all the credit I'm giving. Well, my taxes were lowered. Now they back up because this other dude now raised the taxes back again. But yeah, Washington State. My son's in Washington State. He's in Spokane at whatever that Air Force base is called in Spokane. And yes, these people are getting out with 100%, because when we were in, you couldn't. If you had PTSD, you couldn't say it. If you said it, you would have never reached E6 if you would have said you had PTSD at an E3 or E2. They'd have kicked you out. You had back problems, they'd have kicked you out. You had knee problems, they'd kick you out. I got kicked out because I, jacked my ankle, but I had a whole bunch of other stuff. But they will kick you out. Yeah, bro. We gonna get you there. We gonna get you there. I love getting brothers there. I love helping brothers to get there for that 100, and then going to Africa and do some stuff. You know, whoo! I'm a little excited to talk to you, bro. A little excited. But yeah, if you go look for, let me go back. If you look for the Gospel of Thomas, just look at look at multiple translations. You don't even have to buy a book initially. You can go online and just Gospel of Thomas, type in Gospel of Thomas PDF .pdf, and you'll see all the ones you can download. Download the ones that are for free. You can get multiple translations of it, and then do comparisons. Like I read like 5 or 6 different comparisons of the Gospel of Thomas when I first read it, and then over the years I've read even other people's translations of it, and kind of like whittle out the ones that I can tell are biased in one direction or another. So uh, get multiple translations of it. Find the ones. I like the ones that are just telling me the translation. I don't want your opinion. I don't want somebody's opinion uh, when I know that they're biased towards whatever religion they follow, or if they have some type of an agenda. You know, but it's pretty straightforward. Most of them are straightforward, and it's okay to read some people's opinions, because that may give you a little bit of insight. Because some of them I found will connect, will tell you the connections. Well, saying 6 is also connected to saying 38, or saying 40 is connected to saying 96. And then you can kind of like, there's such a gap between the two, you may not recognize it, but they help you to recognize those. So read a bunch of variations of them and figure out which ones you like, until you can just read it without their opinions. Even that's why I tell y'all, even for me, even listening to me talk about them, go back through them, read them, and be like, nah, I don't really agree with him. Nah, he full of shit. You know. So do that. Make sure you do that. Which is the question? Did any of the verses really speak to you? Like, what verse spoke to you? I'm really curious. I'm legit curious as to which one of those verses spoke to you the most that we went through today. I'm going to say, for me, the one that spoke to me the most, and it still speaks to me the most, oddly enough. Where was it? The Bible claims that all words are from God and should be translated. In that case, the Bible says God is stupid. The dude makes oh, it moved. The dude makes a lot of mistakes and forgets tons of shit. And I thought the dude was all knowing. Yeah, I thought he was all knowing as well when I was younger, but obviously he didn't know a whole bunch of stuff. Verse 28. But that was the first one we did. Verse 28 was Jesus said, I took my stand in the midst of the world in the flesh, and I appeared to them. I found them all drunk and did not find them any of them thirsty. My soul ached for the children of humanity because they are blind in their hearts and do not see. For they came into this world empty, and they will also depart this world empty. But meanwhile they are drunk. When they shake off the wine, they will change their ways. That is a very good one. Um, because that is very telling as to who we are and how we need to be. Uh, I like to combine that one with the one about taking off all your clothes and stomping on them like little children, and you have to become naked. It has a similar meaning. You got to empty that cup, but this one gives you that extra that you got to take off. You're drunk with all the other stuff that humanity has done. My favorite one is actually right after that one, out of these ones that we read today, which was if the flesh came into being because of the spirit, that's a marvel. But if the spirit came into being because of the body, that's a marvel of marvels. Yeah, I marvel at how this great wealth has come to dwell in such poverty. Like, love that one. Triple X said 33. What you are wearing, what you will hear in your ear, in the other ear proclaim from your rooftops. After all, no one lights a lamp and put it under a basket, nor does one put it in a hidden place. Rather, one puts it on a lampstand so that all who come and will go and see this light. Love that one too. You gotta let that started the song. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, remember they had that old person sing that song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Had one of my old mothers at church. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let that senior choir. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, when he comes. Oh, when he comes. You know. Uh, my children are in church because of me, and I can't get them to think because their mother keeps dumping that shit on them. That's why I'm leaving this place. I can understand that. Um, I was a little bit different. I made an agreement with their mother that they was going to learn everything, otherwise we weren't going to have children. So that was a big thing for me. That was one of my deal breakers for having kids. They're not just going to learn Christianity; they're going to learn all the isms. But I did things like I taught my children how to meditate. Like they were little, and I was teaching them how to meditate. And these kids today, I don't. They're growing up with way more access to information than what we had. I lived in the libraries as a child and as a young adult, so there are different ways of getting that information to them. It's kind of like what verse was that, where it said you got to be sly as snakes but gentle as a dove, or something like that. Soft, simple as a dove. That was 39. The Pharisees and the scholars have taken the keys of knowledge and have hidden them. They have not entered, nor have they allowed those who want to enter to do so. As for you, be sly as a snake and as simple as a dove. You, I would say, be that way towards your children. You got to slick, you got to slide it in there on a slick, but be simple, be soft with it. Don't be hard. You know, like I could have never been like, oh, that stuff that you going to church, bullshit. But then I let them see things too. Um, and I use some of the people. You got this old nasty ass preacher who I almost beat his ass in church because he's letting my 2, 3-year-old daughter stand between his legs. And I was like, what the fuck wrong with you? I was in church cussing. The fuck is you doing? Don't you ever let my daughter stand between your legs like that, you nasty pedophile. I went in on his butt. And he was a part of a very well-known family. I didn't give two shits about that. Uh, I came from a well-known family in Marietta as well, so I didn't really care. But I remind my kids and tell my kids of those things so that they see the type of people they see in the fruit of it. This is the fruit of this religion where you got people who act this way. You know, you got to be on watch for that, on guard for that. Even as a father, I never let my kids none of my kids ever sat all up in my lap. Mid thigh out. Mid thigh out. That's as far as they can go. You're not sitting, because I didn't want them sitting on any man like that. The only man you sit like that on is your husband. Whoever you devoting your life to, whoever your intimacies are with. What are your thoughts on people in the entertainment industry who say they sold their souls to be to the so-called devil when they sign a contract, since there isn't any physical devil? They sold their soul to the devil that's within themselves. They sold their soul to the negative parts of them that says that having this money and having this fame is more important than me maintaining my own standards, my own self. They're blaspheming against their own spirit, their own soul. So they sold their soul to themselves. They gave up their own dignity to take this contract to do whatever it is. I was just reminding, we was talking about movies the other day, and I was like, and I was telling them, y'all remember when in the movie Swordfish? Shit, I forgot her name that quick. What's the black lady in Swordfish? Swordfish. But that's what they mean by that. They're selling away their dignity of who they really are. They're blaspheming against their own selves. All right. And this is what one of those verses said, that blaspheme against the Father, that was 40. No, it wasn't 40. It was blasphemy against the Father. Halle Berry, thank you. Blasphemy against the Father, you can be forgiven. The Son, be forgiven. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, that's where you messed up. But Halle Berry had never showed her titties. Ever. Right? They offered her $1 million in that movie Swordfish. And that's the first, and I believe the only time. I don't know if she did it in Monsters Ball, whatever that movie, Monster something. But that's the only time she ever showed her breast. She had always said she would never do those sorts of things. But at that juncture of her career, they offered her $1 million, and she did the one little scene where she pulled down the little thing and she showed her chest. You can even tell in that scene that she didn't feel comfortable. Right? But she went against her own self for that $1 million. And, it put her back into the limelight again. Because I think her career was on a bit of a downslide. And then that put her back into the limelight because she was willing to show them tatas. Yeah. And it worked for her. She got back up a little bit for a little while. I missed them. The condition, I think it would believe only what they believe in the truth. It has always going to be fact. I call it. You wouldn't take it to the hospital for her last child. Yeah. She made her that garbage movie Baps. Yeah, Baps was horrible. I didn't even watch. I couldn't even watch. I think I watched like maybe 15 minutes of it, and I was like, I can't watch this shit. But yeah, that's what selling your soul to the devil is. You sell. It's your own self. Um, we will. It's gonna. Oh my God! It's probably gonna take months, literally months, to go through the book Outwitting the Devil. But I believe everybody should read that book Outwitting the Devil. It's going to take months to go through that book. Um, We don't need to go through that book when I don't have to work on Thursdays, so that we could take, so we can do 4 hours on a Thursday, 4 5 hours, because I am not going to take months to go through that book. But it's a great read. And he calls the devil the negative portions of your brain, right? That is the only devil. It is you. What did Les Brown quotes an African proverb that says that if the devil inside can do you no harm, then the one outside, yeah, it's something like that. If the devil, if you control the devil on the inside, then the devil on the outside can do no harm. It's something like that, right? He says it all the time. I used to be a, I used to listen to motivational speakers all day, but that's the same mindset. The only devil is the one that is in you. The only blasphemy is when you do things against you. Halle Berry, you know what her price is to show her breast? $1 million, at least at that time frame. But the way she acted out that scene, I don't think she'd ever do it again. I don't think she ever do it again. And I think it bothers her probably. I don't know her personally, but I would imagine that it probably bothers her to this day. If you met her and walked up to her and say, "How do you feel about that scene in Swordfish when you showed your tatas?" She probably regrets it. But they convinced her. Let's do it. I wouldn't the devil. We will. I went to a pastor's house and I was damn near, I was damn near jumped on him and three other church dudes. I warned them with an onslaught of profanity, and I basically begged them to get closer. You already had it in, you already had it in your effing heads that what she said was right without hearing what I had to say. And this is you talking about how your wife. Her appointment was 20 minutes away. There was the compressor was messed up in the car. There was the AC was 90 degrees plus. It was high traffic, and it was to take her to the hospital for our last child. Yeah, I would not let these pastors, these people want to rule your. Man, that sex scene in Monsters Ball look real. It did. A lot of people say that they was getting it on for real. But yeah, these I can never deal with people who allow the pastors to rule their house. Who the fuck are you? You gonna rule my house? You're not ruling my house. It's my house. What do we read in Thomas earlier? And some of y'all haven't told me what your favorite verse was yet. I want everybody tell me what their favorite verse was. But it said that basically it's the same thing that if you want to, you cannot, um, you can't loot somebody's a strong man's house until you first bind that strong man. And she does like, yeah. Well, she had two brothers and they cheated on her, but I think those two brothers cheated on her because her sex was horrible. There's some people on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, but I think her sex was horrible. That's why they stepped out on her. Um, I don't think it's all. I don't think that's. I'm not saying that's right, but oftentimes we think that just because a woman looks good or she can perform a good sex scene, that she's good in bed. Same way with a man, just because he looks good, performs a great sex scene, you know, he might be good. But no, we was out. All right. See, I'm telling y'all, we have a lot of different conversations in this lounge. If you saw the video I put out yesterday, we was talking about where are the men who don't have hoes. But some of the women that most men will find as unattractive in whatever format, whether they're based on size or looks, some of them have some of the best sex game. They have some of the best sex game because, like my man Anthony just said, she thinks pretty is enough to get her by. Some of these women who are very pretty by most people's standards, they think that that's enough. But then as the relationship goes on and he is not satisfied sexually, he gonna go find it somewhere. But some of them not so attractive, some of them big girls, and I know some dudes love the big girl because they gotta try harder. They are more into their sexuality, they are more experimental, they are more willing, and they're hornier and they're more aggressive. And I keep telling women that no matter who the dude is, he will like for his woman to have a certain level of aggression. We don't always want to feel like we have to attack her all the time, like we're going after her all the time. Shit, we want to feel desired as well. You know, show us some desire. Show us that you want us. That you know, that just the thought of us or seeing us makes you horny. You know, we want to be desired. You know, so, so there's an attraction with that. There's an attraction with that. You will see a dude with a woman, you be like, how in the hell did she get him? Because she got that good poom poom. She got that Gluck Gluck 3000. She freaky. Sorry. It's just the way it is. They will please you more than you want to be pleased. Make your eyes pop out your head. Exactly. They finish the job. They do all that good shit. Just like it's just the way it is. There's no right, no wrong to it. It just is. It just a is. So I'm just saying. I think that Halle Berry is probably a bad lay, and that's why David Justice and whatever the other guy name is stepped out on her. I'm not saying they were right for stepping out on her. They should have left her. They should have ended the relationship. If they couldn't get her to do some swinging or something, or some polyamory or some polygamy, they should have been like, nah, this ain't gonna work. So before I step out on you, I'm gonna end this relationship. You know, you're a bad lady. Only a vanilla man likes vanilla, and not meaning color or anything like that. Sexually, only a sexually vanilla man likes vanilla sex. So she got that sandpaper. That's that's cold. That's cold. I'll be walking outside holding hands with a monster and will kill a person to look at her funny. Man, what you talking about? In my 51 years, I have seen some brothers, and I'm looking at that brother like, God dang, he could pull something better than that. And I used to be look at that negatively, but then I started realizing, because you gotta understand, for me, met my kid's mom in the ninth grade, for the most part of high school together, uh, then 17 years of marriage. So I didn't know nothing about I didn't know what it's like to date outside of, the date as an adult, you know. Well, happy belated born day. Oh no, yeah, happy belated born day. But so I didn't know what it was like to date. I didn't know all this. I knew about some varieties, but to me, it was more the way that those varieties happen wasn't a natural way for it to happen. Uh, it was based on the job that I was doing in the military. But uh, when I got here in the dating world, I was like, what? And I was dating all these girls like, oh, she's gorgeous. Let me date her. She's gorgeous. Let me date her. And she was vanilla. And she was vanilla. And I was like, this is some bullshit. Then I started saying, okay, let me not go so much for that. And started having some of the best intimacy I ever had. So I had to change the way I thought about these dudes when I see them with a woman that I'm like, mm, eh. Tell you, when it comes to just pure sex, so like my standard for being with a woman is like here, right? These are my standards. But when it comes to just pure sex, my standards will widen greatly. Cause I know some of them ones, Boy, put it on you. How you sitting out there? How you like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang? Squeeze his toes squeezing together. You currently on Africans from America. That's what's up. They were both allegedly abusive. Who are we talking about? Hallie and Justice, or Hallie and the other guy? I don't know why I can't think of his name. Little singer boy. And say I only turn down mayonnaise. Yeah, I ain't too keen on the Caucasians. You can see through them. Then they get wet. I don't like the way they hair smell. There's only one Caucasian whose hair didn't smell like that, but she washed her hair every goddamn day. And she has some. She was a little Italian girl, and she washed her hair. She had some thick ass long hair. She used to wash that shit every day. She'd have got on my nerves because she was always late. Them two was always late. Her and her husband was late for every goddamn thing. But can't do it. And I ain't just talking shit. Ain't the same. But when we was growing up, Anthony, when we was growing up, a lot of black girls didn't do a lot of things them white girls doing, that them Caucasian girls doing. They were doing things that the sisters weren't doing. So a lot of us had our turn. It was like, what? She do what? She do what? What? She. I don't really want to do that with them, but I want to experience this. I was with the white girl in the ninth grade. I did one in high school when I was broke up, but it was just sex. Prior to that, it was like seventh, eighth grade. I started a little early in life. And then because of my job in the military, I had to mess with a couple of them. Yeah, I was waiting. Anthony. When you was in the Navy, I'd be damned. If you was on ship, shit. I seen y'all Navy boys in the Marines. I was married, so I wasn't doing nothing when I was on ship. But you roll up into Spain or Italy, Greece, Turkey, you wilding. Wilding while he was in the Navy. No, not not never on. You was never on ship. Okay, but I know when y'all be going, them Navy boys, they be getting it in. The Marines too, they be getting it. They be getting it in. They be checking off the bucket list. You know how people have countries. Like me and Angelina have a map at the house, and we got pins in there for countries we've been to and all this kind of stuff. A lot of them military dudes, they got countries they banged in. Right, y'all don't do ships. That's right, y'all fly. Yeah, you get it in. All right, so uh, yeah, we finna end this today. Not that that's a conversation I shy away from. I actually intimacy is one of my most favorite subjects to actually talk about. If I wasn't talking about this kind of stuff, then all my channels would be about relationships and intimacy, mostly about intimacy. Like I used to love watching Dr. Ruth. I would watch Dr. Ruth, even though I was like, who? Don't nobody want to get with that lady. But I would watch Dr. Ruth. She came on TV. I'm watching Dr. Ruth. Right. Y'all took a shower together and she only washed her hair and nothing else. Did she have hair down there in the poom poom? Because hopefully she washed that too. Because that's stank. Uh, but yeah, that's actually I'm considering. I do have a channel called The Art of Tantric Love, I'm considering doing more work on that channel as well, so that that part of me that loves talking about intimacy, it gives me that outlet. She had your room funky, the mattress, dude. Y'all been getting it in for 3 days straight, and she only washed her hair. Nah, nah, she might have to get a GI shower at that point. Well, I'm finna take her ass in that breath. Wash this shit. Well, get this shit clean. Your funky ass. In here smelling all like who knows what. But depending upon what country that woman might have been from, um, they don't bathe every day. Letting the lather run down her body. That ain't cleaning. But some of these countries, these people don't bathe every day. It's not custom. It's not part of their custom to bathe every day. Yeah, you'd be. I was quite surprised when I started finding that out. But yeah, I am. I was hungry 2 hours ago. I'm really hungry now. And cigars burn the sugar out of your blood, which makes you even more hungrier. So, yeah, we about to call it a day. Ah, shit, I forgot to go pick up water. Damn, I figured out. We're gonna call it a day today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the financial donation, Donald, over on YouTube. Hey, and if you're watching this in review, it is not too late to give a financial donation. Thank you for all the shares and comments on all the channels. Uh, um, this is in California '94. Uh, I appreciate everybody who give gifts on TikTok, stars on YouTube, on Facebook. But most importantly, I appreciate everybody who shares the channel, everybody who do their likes and all that kind of stuff. Continue to share it. Let's continue to grow this channel. Yeah, shoot me a message later, Anthony, and we're gonna talk about that VA. So I look forward to everybody being here. Tomorrow is tomorrow Friday. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna talk about slave ships versus enslaving indigenous people. We're gonna talk about that, facts and falsehoods. I'm gonna have to go back and do some studying on it because I haven't talked about that subject in depth and detail in a while. So I'm gonna do even more studying on it because I like being prepared. Um, and I'm just looking at the facts. That's all, just the facts. Don't care about nothing else. And then at the end of it, we're gonna talk about what the hell we're gonna do moving forward in that arena. Who's that guy that was on your TikTok explaining about the rapture? I don't know his name. I follow him now, but I don't know his name. I can't remember his name. Um, I have to look it up. But he grew up Mormon. Then he went to seminary, and then he went past seminary and went into religious studies. He was a linguist for the Mormon Church for about 10 years. And then he left. Then through all his learning and understanding, like most of us, he left the Mormon Church, and now he does seminar, write books, and um, just give people the facts on stuff and corrects people. And he does a lot of correction videos. He has a little saying, "Okay, let's hear it," but he does a lot of that. But it's just, and I like him because he just sticks to facts. There's no, you after listening to him, listen to about 50, 60 of his videos, I came to realize that he is not putting any bias in things. He's just stating facts of what a word meant, what the actual, what words mean, what those words were, where they come from, the histories. He's evidently studied the Sumerian texts and the Kemetic texts and all these other ones. So he's very astute. So I like him. I like him. And I plan on doing a lot of them, putting a lot more reaction videos to his information because, you know, he explains certain things better than I do. So why should I? So I'm not trying to I don't want to just try to regurgitate his stuff, but he explained it better. So if he can explain it better, we'll roll with it. So yeah, but I don't know his name. If you look at the video, it may have his name, in that little print. It may have his name on there, but I'll look it up. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thank you for all this. Thank you for all your support. I really, really appreciate it. So always remember that you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. And so until next time, good journey, good vibrations, and I am out. 3 hours. Yeah. Boy, it's amazing how long you can go and don't even realize the time.